What is up? Fuck it. We're dead.
Restart the show.
What is up?
It's over.
I fucked my throat up just right there. I was like, what's that? And I just fucking died.
Yeah,
Anyways,
he has other side jobs, so.
Yeah, you know what though? I almost like that intro a lot more than the typical one. Because at least this one has an identity. At least it's like a little bit different than just like, hey, we're doing the pre-show. It's another.
I almost died on air.
Identity. Yeah, exactly. This will be the one where it started off going. But what's up, everybody? Double Toast pre-show. Now we're gonna get typical. Yeah, pre-show. Sunday service will be starting a little bit differently today. 6:15 CST is when they're gonna be starting, which is going to be in about 30 to maybe even 40 minutes. He's doing some last-minute prepping for Castlevania Season 4, as well as Love and Death and Robots.
What's the longest we've ever done a pre-show? Like on, not necessarily we stayed on, but like where Corey just didn't start. What's the longest we ever did?
An hour and 15 minutes for sure.
Yeah, it had to be. I was about to say almost 2 hours, but hour 15 sounds right.
Yeah, and well, no, and then that show was actually 2.5 hours, but you know, before Corey started, it was an hour and 15, which was like ridiculous because it was like that day. I remember how that day went. We were like, "Hey, man, like we're gonna start the show. I don't really feel like doing it. People, sorry, sometimes I don't feel like doing shit." And it's like, "Oh, let's just start 10 minutes before they start, so we just can talk really quick and then leave." That became our longest one. I had nothing ready, bro. I was like, I don't know what the fuck to talk about. I'm tired.
Did we end up playing Call of Duty near the end? And I legitimately just ran out of shit to say, which is rare for me, but I wasn't watching a lot of shit or doing anything at the time. So I just ran out of things to talk about. I got nothing.
Oh, Marissa, yeah, so I didn't really forget to disconnect. I just didn't care at a certain point. I was doing a couple of games or whatever. And I just left you guys on for the fuck of it. But yeah, thank you for being here last night. For as long as you guys did, the After Hours Room B was actually popping up a lot last night. Not popping up.
Yeah, it was fun to be back to being a part of it. It was times of old, like where shit was just on and people were just chatting, no fights. Yeah. They had a little bit of like discussions, but nobody was yelling at anyone.
Yeah, 19 fucking people. So yeah, very, very cool. If you guys want to be part of that, I mean, I'll set something up soon where I can kind of have like my move bot kind of go in there and do whatever. But it's like, yeah, follow us, the chat tag on Discord. I don't even know if you guys can actually find it in that particular way. I don't know how Discord works.
I think you can. You can put links in there. You've been putting Facebook links. We can find a way to put the chat attack Discord link in the chat.
Yeah,
chat attack Discord link in the chat.
Yeah, no, we can do something. I can hear myself. No,
Are you okay?
Oh no, that's in the fucking when I went to Twitch, so apparently, how do you know this? Google, you need to stop fucking around, dude. Like, but I go on Twitch, and usually when you leave a tab and you just start a computer, whatever the fuck, like, it doesn't have the volume on, but like, it makes you think like, oh, like, well, that's a Twitch stream because of my mod stuff, so like, it's automatically muted. I click on it, and then my voice just comes at me at full blast. I'm like, why would you turn on like volume just because I clicked on the tab? Like, just. I have it on mute. What the fuck are you doing? Like, and I had to restart the computer this morning, and a bunch of other shit was going on. And it's like every update, you find a way to fuck it up. Every one on PlayStation, on fucking Steam, like everything. Can you please stop fucking it up? But anyways, I want to show you guys something. You guys can hit me up over here. I'm gonna put. I usually do this at the end of the show, but there you go. That's my handles right there. This is Alan's handles, and this. If you want to be weird, this is Jet's handles because she's going to be doing something weird, and you know, Jet's a character. But the reason I'm posting those there is that if you want to, you can hit us up, and we'll give you the link to the Discord if you guys are very curious to hop on and do that stuff. So, Joe, there you go, and hopefully we guys see you in the Discord shooting a show with us on Saturday nights. It's always on Saturday nights. It's never ever been. Has there ever been any other night, Alan?
Yeah, there's been a couple times where we either just didn't do a show on Saturday, or something came up and we did it on a Friday or on a Monday. But honestly, it's like 90% of the time.
Okay, geez, like we see Alan's handles every time he speaks.
The fuck does that mean?
Yeah, like he's not standing up. He's not showing like his love handles. If that's what you mean, like that. I don't know. By the way, who doesn't have love handles? Like I feel like literally every single person has love handles. Huh?
I mean, it depends on what you define as love handles, but probably just skinny people.
Yeah, but like even then, like
I don't have that.
Wait, you don't have love handles?
No.
Because I think I forgot what the fuck love handles are.
Probably.
Yeah.
Let's be real here. I don't really know them either.
Because aren't they like little indents like in your tummy? So like, because like I don't even think love handles are like ugly or anything. Like they're super. Like your body has to. It's like an hourglass. Like you gotta like you know what I mean? I don't know.
I mean, not if you don't have an hourglass figure.
But Peter Pan Sexual has 50 bits. Thank you very much. I appreciate this. He says, flashing my big old bitties. Some more bitties. 30 bitties on my titties. I love it. I love it so much. Thank you so much, man.
Please stop.
What?
Not sending the bits. Keep sending the bits. You stop fucking orgasming to them.
No, I'm trying to steal Gary's Gary's gimmick. Oh yes, give me them bitties, whatever the fuck he does. People like that apparently too. I didn't know this, but like I watched like a thing that's like, hey, how to be popular on fucking the internet, and someone's like, you should be a goofy character. You should dance. You should go.
No, that shit is like, oh, if you're goofy, people will like you. Yeah, if you're funny, but if you're an annoying prick, like someone fucking reminded us that Fred existed on YouTube.
No, but
God,
that's the funny thing is like when I saw a video like they're showing like examples, and it's like for one, I would never give bits to these people that you tell me to give bits to. Like when they're over there, like, hey guys, thank you for the. Oh my god, here we go, and just like doing all these stupid things. I'm like, dude, like this is fucking stupid. This is dumb as shit. Like I would, this would never work on me unless you're trying to get.
It would not work on you, but again, these people have like millions of followers. It's gonna work on somebody. It's just that it also does work on me. That's why I really stopped watching YouTube, just because. Eventually, I got to the point where I just don't really care about what the content is anymore.
Yeah. No, I actually like YouTube a lot still because I think that people are trying to do whatever they can to kind of change around like what was normal. Twitch people, I'm starting to kind of like, all right, like everyone's really doing like the same shit. Like just.
Oh no, YouTube is falling apart, man. At the fucking seams, like YouTube is becoming what I said. I said this like years ago. YouTube is becoming what television was back in like the early 2000s, where it's like. This is a situation where it's like only the big wigs are sticking around. Anyone small is being priced out because of just monetization and just how the algorithm fucks over small channels. Hell, that literally happened to us. There's a reason we're on Twitch and not on YouTube anymore. And it's getting to a point where it's like, yeah, if you're grandfathered in, you're good. But if you're new, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, and then I probably like if I was in a situation where hype trains happen pretty often, Ryan, I actually would not just sit there. I don't think I'd dance. That's definitely not.
Yeah, he still hasn't paid me for that last hype train.
But what I would do is I'd find something. I would like. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to like put any of my ideas out there, but there's a few running through my head, and I'm like, I would do this, this, and this. Yeah. I would do something that's worth it. But like, I'm telling you, like some people go on there like, look, and I'm not trying to talk shit because this person actually watches this, but like, Go versus Fish. It's cool that you sing the song, you have the guitar. You're very talented, dude. That's cool, and you seem like a great person. But you thank motherfuckers for a raid for like 15 minutes. Thank you for the raid on the Gold versus Fish, and then the fish raid. I'm like, what the? Shut the fuck up.
Hey, maybe people like it, man. I'm not gonna judge people's tastes. I literally do that all the goddamn time.
Yeah, you really do. You're gonna do it today on me.
I'm gonna do it in about 5 minutes.
But yeah, Marissa's like, I can't send bits on phone. Oh, well, that's okay. As long as you're over here shooting the shit with us and whatnot, too. I really appreciate that. But anyways, moving on, though, guys. We got quite the fucking show for you. We got so many things to talk about and everything. But before we continue on, G. Jackson, how are you doing? Are you drinking any weird, old, gross shit in your room?
Not currently. I mean, I could, but I'm not.
That coffee from earlier, is that, like, old at this point now? Because you got it, like, 3 hours ago, and I forgot if it was a cold coffee or a, like, good coffee or whatever the fuck.
I mean, it's like the ice is melted, but I mean, I'm still gonna drink it.
So it was a nice cap.
Yeah. So do you guys remember? I don't know. And Chad, tell me how wrong I am if I get this incorrect or anything. But it's like I remember back in the day where like frappes were not really an option, like at coffee places, like a Starbucks.
Really? When? What was it? The 90s? Because like frappes have always been a thing for a while.
And I could be dumb, but I remember that being the case in the 90s. But I could be wrong because I was a kid. I mean, I ain't going over there like buying a bunch of coffee and then I'm like, hey, Dad, can I get coffee? And everything's all hot and shit. But like the thing is, though, it's like I don't talk like that too. Just put that out there. But the thing is like it was always so gross when someone's like, oh man, my coffee got cold. Ew, shoot it, kill it with fire, fuck. And then like all of a sudden it's like, my coffee's cold, and I spent extra money to make it cold. It's like,
well, if you're spending like $8 for a drink, you're not gonna waste it. You're gonna drink that shit.
Well, no, because putting ice in a coffee, like ice caps are a thing where it's like you have a specific kind of coffee that's the way it's blended is designed to be cold, but then you have more normal stuff that's designed to be way hotter. It's two different blends. I mean, I personally don't like iced coffee, but I understand the appeal. And honestly, I don't really like regular coffee. I prefer tea, but like they basically like start off with like regular coffee. But if people want to try new things and experiment, because that's how you diversify your audience. Because people like there are items on Starbucks' menu, for example, that aren't coffee. They're like just random juices.
Oh yeah, like those raspberry juices. All these weird crazy. And
which they are pretty good, but I also don't want to pay my rent to buy one.
Yeah, Jed, what do you like? Is there something that's not coffee that you really like at Starbucks? Because I feel like you like seasonal shit, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean sometimes. Like I usually just get one of their like refreshers or like a lemonade or something like that. And what else? Like an ice mocha or something like that. Between those two, I don't really experiment that much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude. I fucking no, I love like what's a good I mean I like fruit punch, and I really hate what fruit punch actually is, like, or like what they name it. It's just fruit punch. It's like, dude, like what is in it? Like I want the stuff that's in it that tastes good, but like it's always red, and they don't tell you if it's cherry or if it's strawberry or if it's what. But like I just like fruit punch. Like I really do.
fruit punch is probably one of my favorite ones, just because it's what generally apples, grapes, strawberries, stuff like that. They change it up, so it's like, yeah, you're never quite sure what it is, but usually they'll say it like fruit punch with cherry or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, dude. Like Gatorade. It's like what are the items that make that taste the way it does? A fruit punch Gatorade. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
you can't do Gatorade is like that's a state secret.
Really? Fuck.
No, I'm kidding.
Fuck you, man. I'm looking over
I
here.
can't believe you believe that
I
shit.
don't know shit. All right, fuck
Yeah,
you.
that's
Ryan says Fruitopia or get the fuck out. I've never had Fruitopia my entire life. I think, is this Canadian only, or am I just another?
No, I mean, is it Jet? Do you know Fruitopia? And Nick doesn't like eat half of the foods that exist.
Yeah.
Do you have Fruitopia?
I don't know what that is.
Okay, so it's Canadian only. Ryan, you gotta stop saying shit like that. They don't know the fucking culture up here.
But I'm curious though, because like I feel like I've seen this type of bottle, but am I
Do you have a
thinking of
Minute
Fanta?
Maid? Do you have Minute Maid?
Oh, Minute Maid. Yeah, Minute Maid's a shit.
Yeah, okay. Basically, think of it as like it's just a big brand.
Okay. Yeah. But no, dude, I would love to get. Oh, it's owned by Pepsi. I fucking
that's
hate
fair.
Pepsi products.
I mean, I don't mind them. Like, it's weird to know what exactly is a Pepsi product, but I don't mind them.
Dude, I like how I get excited when I'm drinking. Like, yeah, don't choke, dumb fuck. Anyways, no, but the thing is, I just call myself dumb fuck. I'm really mad today, I think. But anyways, I hate when I go to like I have some places over here in Arizona called like Lenny's Burger Shot, and then obviously a big chain in America is Buffalo Wild Wings. They have Pepsi products. Who the fuck wants to eat potato wedges with this big fucking thing of disgusting Pepsi? And that's their best choice, by the way. Pepsi's fucking gross. Pepsi's fucking terrible.
What?
I'm sorry.
No, it's not actually. Pepsi is fine, but the idea who's going to sit there and drink a drink with their food? It's like what? Yeah, people do that, dude.
No. Look.
Yes. What do you mean no? It's literally there.
Look at this. Look at this. She's like, oh, that's fucking disgusting.
That's because Diet Pepsi is shit.
Look at him. He got the runs instantly as soon as he took a drink of that fucking thing. Look how much Pepsi's left in there, too.
You literally put Pepsi is gross into Google.
Oh, shit.
Of course you're going to find people that think it's gross.
No, don't look at that. So
you fucking like what? Oh man, Pepsi's the worst thing on the planet. Look at all these people that agree with me.
Okay,
like,
I bet you I can't find out with Dr. Pepper. Let's see. Dr. Pepper is
Dr. Pepper is gross.
Let me see. There's nothing. See, nothing's really here. There's nobody drinking Dr. Pepper going, ew, it's not
Hot
here.
idea, not Dr. Pepper. The first thing in the goddamn corner.
Where?
Yeah.
Hot idea, hot Dr. Pepper?
I can't tell if that's.
Well, oh, you can't fucking read?
Dr. Pepper.
Oh, you can't fucking read, huh?
Yeah, I got that from
you dumb shit.
The Knicks.
God damn. Oh, he about to call me N-word, y'all. Anyways, we're moving on. I don't know what this is. Family claim they found something very Dr. Peppery. Oh, okay. Zero sugar Dr. Pepper. Would you drink that?
I don't like Dr. Pepper in general. You're gonna have to ask Jet.
Didn't they?
Damn. Go ahead, Jet. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Dr. Pepper did something recently or whatever. Like, did they get rid of the caffeine in their drink or the sugar? I can't remember.
It must have been sugar because that's what I'm seeing over here. I thought this was a joke, by the way. I didn't know
mean,
this was
you
real
can
thing.
every single soft drink has a low calorie but also zero sugar. Basically, zero sugar is they still use a sweetener, but the sweetener. Oh, sorry, no, they use a different kind of sweetener that's not sugar. So it's like the Splenda or whatever the fuck the difference is. So it's like you still see that's in there, but it has a 0 calorie and it's a lot less. It's natural sweeteners, basically.
Jojo Cat, thank you. Yes, shut your mouth, Grandma. No,
I don't give a fucking shit. Dr. Pepper is overrated. It's either
you're wrong as
it's either
shit,
Coca-Cola or root beer.
Like
Yeah,
root beer is
you
fine,
drink
but
root beer, you stupid
Coca-Cola.
motherfucker.
Yeah, I drink. Well, I drink all of them. I mean, I'm soda's just my thing because I'm fucking stupid.
Wow, and he says ew when I say fucking root beer. This motherfucker drinks root beer all the goddamn time.
No, well, like that's the thing. Like, it depends on the root beer. And since we're talking about Pepsi and all these other fucking terrible, because I was talking about Coke, really is like that's the you part. But like another thing too, it's like Pepsi's root beer is Mug, which legitimately is the most
Mug is
disgusting thing
terrible.
I've ever tasted. Yeah.
Oh, Mug is terrible. For me, it's Barks or nothing.
Oh yeah, thank you.
They all taste the same to me.
Oh bullshit! There's a big
no,
difference.
Okay, Barks has a lot more carbonation.
Mm-hmm.
Mug might as well be water. A&W is kind of in the middle.
Yeah, A&W is fine if like you're having it with another item that's really good, like pizza. Because I like A&W with pizza because your mouth is so distracted by how good the sauce is or whatever the fuck's going on with pizza that you don't necessarily think about. Oh, Yasuo Fan, Mr. Pibb,
Fuck is Mr. Pibb?
Bro, Mr. fucking Pibb, bro. Dude, okay, so I'm gonna call
Mr. Pibb is basically one of those like Dr. Pepper knockoffs that you can basically taste the knockoff.
This is the best shit
I
I've
never
ever
understood the
had
thing
in
with
my
knockoffs.
life.
Like there's always the discussion of Coke versus Pepsi. Like, could you do the taste, blind taste, whatever the fuck? You can always tell the difference between the on-brand and off-brand. I don't know what they do, but you can always taste the difference.
Yeah, Dr. Thunder sucks. I will say that. Dr. Thunder sounds like someone put Coke in my Dr. Pepper. But
I've literally never had I don't like Dr. Pepper, so I've never had the offshoot brand. I'm not even sure how many of them actually make it up here.
dude, so like before I drank soda, someone gave me Mr. Pibb, and I was like, "This is delicious," and I hate soda. Like, this is amazing. And then our store stopped selling it. And by the way, chat, fuck our topics for a minute here because who knows how long Corey's gonna take to get started. So we're just gonna have some fun.
Single tier.
But yeah, I'm sorry. We're gonna get into topics soon, I promise. But another thing, Chad, that I want you guys to kind of come in here and give us some that comes to your head. But one more thing that really bothers me that went away. Do you remember, Alan, the Butterfinger BBs?
Those were awful.
You fucking trash hole.
Literally,
I cannot
those were
believe you.
Butterfingers sucked. The only
Yeah, I
reason
gotta
I
agree with
ever
Alan.
the only reason I ever tried that shit is because of Simpsons advertised it. I loved that shit growing up. So it was let go my Butterfinger. Whatever the fuck Bart used to say.
Even later, like they dissed Butterfinger on a later episode, saying like no one wants to eat these, not even a fire, like not even thrown in fire. Like fire doesn't even want them. They're nasty.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because you see something advertised a kids show. So as a kid, you're like, well, if they like it, I will like it too. It's the only reason I ever tried Kraft Dinner, and I never tried it ever again. But that's irrelevant. I tried it. I was like, it is fucking awful. Like it's all flaky, and I don't even know what kind of chocolate they use, but it is fucking awful.
People in the chat, what were those comment things? Yeah, the asteroids.
Sorry, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, hot Cheeto asteroids, man. That was the
What
shit.
the fuck are hot Cheeto asteroids?
That's it. That's the only context. Where are they? They are hot Cheeto asteroids, Alan.
Y'all, Americans obsessed with hot Cheetos. I don't understand it.
Yeah, no, wait, what do you mean by you people? Mexicans? You saying Mexicans
I
like hot
literally
stuff?
said America's obsession. At no point did I say you people.
Well, America is actually in Mexico, so you still meant Mexicans.
Actually, I didn't.
Wait, who am I? Who's driving the car?
It's Jet.
But yeah, Art Thief, I'm glad you brought that up, dude. Silent says I got a Bar Assistant Butterfinger box from 1990. Oh yes, that's cool.
Bro, that's as old as I am. It's over, man.
Cheeto Ball, somebody in chat said violent farts. Dude, by the way, I love your name because if you're gonna have farts, they should be violent. But here's the thing though. Damn, no. Cheese and bacon.
Bro, it's cheese. Of course, people are gonna want to sit there. Look, man, I'm gonna say this straight up. Number two, what I don't understand. I don't understand people's
He doesn't
obsession with
understand
bacon.
a lot, by the way, guys. You'll be able to
I
tell.
don't understand people's obsession with bacon. They literally talk about it like it's crack cocaine.
Yeah. I never had bacon in my entire life. I love that commercial though. Bacon.
I personally I don't understand it. Like it's just like no one talks about like beef or chicken the same way.
Keep and Larry, I'm gonna ask Joe what she thinks about this stuff, but really quick, Keep and Larry says there's a Butterfinger cross promotion with Final Fantasy 14. I need $5 for
Wait, currently?
I guess so, or maybe maybe you used a word that wasn't past tense, but like yeah, I love that too. Like there's certain product things that I feel like
I
win me
love
over
that
more.
comment, by the way. He says that there's a promotion for Final Fantasy 14, so it might be current or past. He then bought the Butterfinger just to get the code, and then returned the fucking chocolate.
That is hilarious.
I didn't even know you could return chocolate like that.
It depends on the store, and as long as it's not open. So maybe the code was like on the inside wrapper, so you
But,
didn't have to like open it.
Either way, they were right because I would also return the Butterfinger if I could.
John Ross says I miss the old Resident Evils 1 and 2 actual zombies. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit, by the way, too, because we're going to talk about Resident Evil Village. That's later on. There's lots of topics we're going to be talking about, but still, I want to just touch on this. One more question for the chat, because Keep and Larry brought up a very, very important thing here. What has been some like packaging that made you want to eat the product? Because he brought up the whole thing about like it still didn't win him over with Final Fantasy 14. He just wanted the code, but like he's gonna bring out something, and then he broke.
Gobstoppers, literally carry a pack on here. The little it's not gonna show up here, but for people that have actually had this shit, the little fucking like notch on here that you could just get rid of and then just start fucking eating it without having like put your hand in is fucking awesome.
Jed, how about you? What's something that comes to mind about like something with packaging that makes you go like, I want to eat that shit?
Big League Chew.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like I love that shit. Let me see. I'm gonna pull this up really quick. Okay, I said Big Little Chew. God damn it. By the way, are you laughing too much? What's going on?
Nothing.
Did I fuck up?
Yeah.
Big League Chew. Is that not gum?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why the fuck are you being awkward? What's going
'Cause
on?
it's hilarious. Okay, look, man. I'm gonna say this straight up. This shit was awful. This shit tasted like Russian rations, man, and it was just as hard. You
wait,
take
what
it
the
out,
fuck
and
is
it's
that?
like, look at that! What the fuck is that?
I think I've had
That's
this
like a
before, but
brain.
why? It's so just fucking around, I guess. You know, I can't tell when just fucking around.
Like legitimately, no, because I remember there was like that, but then there was also the very hard ones that were like it looked like it was a piece of steel inside. Like it was fucking ridiculous.
God,
Who would eat that?
Um,
It looks like someone deep fried like a troll's hair.
But just packaging. Yeah, you said like packaging, but yeah, like still in the line of gum. Probably zebra stripe, but it's just a big disappointment. Like it's so colorful, and then they're just like, oh, you get a tattoo with every single wrapper, and it's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh, okay. And then when you eat not the big leaf, but the zebra stripe gum, it's just like,
Yeah.
disappointing.
And by the way, like when you said zebra stripes, I'm like, okay, what could be? Because it could be these fruit stripes, but then also like there's the cookies, and then there's like another gum thing. Like,
I guess they're called. I thought they were called zebra stripe. I guess they're called.
You probably just called them that because that was just the way kids will name different candies, like the freeze pops. What did y'all call the freeze pops? Because everyone has a different fucking name for them.
Icy pops.
We called them freezies.
so I gotta bring this up, guys, and
What?
this is where my fatness is gonna show. I don't give a fuck, man. I love the 1990s Doritos. That bag was so sexy, bro. I love that fucking bag. I would never.
Man, I'm gonna piss the chat out. I never liked Doritos. I don't think Doritos are
Okay,
good.
dude, there's only
I
so
don't
many
know
times
what
you
the
could be
fuck
wrong.
Cool Ranch is, but it does not sound appetizing.
By the way, guys, we're gonna go into lots of opinionated content today.
Oh, you goddamn
This
right, but
motherfucker
man, I
is starting
fucking
off
hate
bad.
Doritos. The gamers' obsession with Doritos, I never fucking understood. That and Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew is like all right at best.
Yeah, dude. Mocha Medics. I remember this gum that got larger when you shoot it, and as an adult, I realized it was an absolute choking hazard. Same thing with those fucking. Oh god, those jawbreakers. I almost died.
Oh, the jawbreakers were fucking great. I never understood the people that would get ones that were too big to fit in your mouth. Like, what the fuck are you doing with that thing?
You just lick them until they get tiny. That's what I
What
used
the
to
fuck?
do.
What? Because that shit can take hours.
Yeah.
dude. Polar Pop. Someone said in the chat. Polar Pops. Let me look these up. really quick.
Every single person has a different name for that. Like, I think because somebody called it Otter Pops. Apparently, that's the actual name, which I don't fucking understand.
Yeah,
The
I
fuck
can.
is that?
I guess these are Polar Pops, but like, and I could be wrong. Maybe this is just like, I mean, in
I'm
America.
from the Midwest. We rarely call things by their actual name.
I know. Same thing like with pop. Like you call it pop instead of soda, which is completely wrong.
Which is wrong.
Yeah. You know.
Well, I'm sorry. Basically, you guys want to take all the cool slang from us, but when it comes to pop, basically, you don't want to take that one.
Because it's not cool. You said it during that sentence. It's not a cool name.
No, I said you guys want to take all the cool slang, but you guys leave pop behind.
No, we don't.
Pop is what sounds way cooler than
No, it
fucking
doesn't. Soda.
Yes, it
Sounds
does.
way
dude.
better.
Yo.
That sounds nerdy as fuck.
Oh,
By the way-
pop sounds better.
Bad
Yes.
boy.
know what else pops? A gun.
So really quick, I want to show
Soda
something.
balloons.
Oh, this is actually okay. So, man,
Is he lifting tricks?
I'm gonna go into
Ryan?
so many fucking like this is one of the most random shows. But people, this is the chat tag. Welcome to what we do. We're all over the place. This is like a legitimate conversation. I don't like to script what we're gonna talk about. I don't like to really go over the place with stuff. This is literally.
I was
just a
following this
conversation.
script for the last hour. We're about to talk about cows next.
Yeah, fuck you. No, but like I'm gonna show you guys something because Bad Boy, dude, I know you're a Dorito loving motherfucker because I am too, and we, bro.
They
like,
go
both
bad
of us-
faster. Wait, really? I never
Yeah,
had Doritos. Do they
watch
go bad
this.
fast?
So really quick, right here, this particular picture, I don't know why they have this on here. That's old Doritos right there, dog. The way all those fucking like the bumps are like really flattened out and it's getting old and like there's way too much cheese. You can see the cheese like right here. Oh, I don't have my cursor on. But
Yeah.
if I had my cursor on, you would see on the bottom right corner like the cheese is way overlain. The way it's supposed to look when it's really good, it's either this or let me scroll down over here. I just saw it
Maybe
earlier.
it's the lighting. Like,
Right here. See how bumpy they are? That's the way it's supposed to fucking look. That's the way it is at deli shops when you buy because they buy them fresh. You spend extra money on that shit. That's the way it's supposed to be. This shit up here, that is old. That shit tastes nasty. I have 2 fucking bags of Doritos in my room right now that I'm just gonna throw away because they fucking taste awful. They give me a
Yes, but-
stomach ache. They're fucking dusty as shit. Dude, Bad Boy.
Why don't you just eat them stale?
Because fuck that, I'm not gonna wait. I'm not gonna have all the calories.
Stale? Oh hell no, because cheesies or cheese puffs, whatever the fuck you want to call them, that shit goes stale. You might as well be eating plastic.
Cheesy weeds.
No, like it would most go stale. Like I just eat them. I'd rather eat them than just waste money.
Yeah, I don't know, man. For me, I'd rather waste some money.
There's some things you can't eat stale. Like I don't mind that. Like expiration date to me is a suggestion unless it's made out of milk.
Yeah, but no. Well, I mean, technically this is dairy. I mean,
You guys don't drink spoiled milk?
Well, no.
Yeah. The fact that she asked though is like, I know she's trying to be weird, but like at the same time, like Alan might be
I
like,
already kind of drink spoiled milk. I drink day old fucking lattes.
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
That's
And
not
then
spoiled
also
though.
too, well, same thing too is like Alan would probably also be that guy who does that. Like motherfucker has talked about like eating dry ramen on the show, so like I don't know.
That's not old and it's not stale.
Yeah, but it's not cooked, dog. It's
So what? There's a lot of things that aren't cooked. You can eat a tomato. You can eat potatoes. You can eat carrots.
But
they don't not
potatoes
cooked.
not meant to be cooked.
Potatoes are not meant to be cooked.
You know, okay, dude. Tomato, the top ramen when you look in the back, it has instructions on how to eat it. And you
Yeah,
like,
I know it does.
those.
I don't give a fuck. People eat cookie dough.
Well, actually, to be fair, I think a lot of people actually do need to learn how to eat Doritos because there's some people who basically eat them like with the point like upwards and basically bite into it and basically wreck the roof of their mouth.
I don't know why I thought you were gonna say use like utensils, like someone eat Doritos with a fork.
I know, like that Seinfeld episode.
No, bro, that Seinfeld episode to me was hilarious. So it's like the whole cutting the twigs. I'm like, that seems like a pretty not twigs, stickers. That's a pretty good way to eat it, so you don't mess your hands up.
Yeah. So not to really pick on Alan, because I know I've been doing that a lot, but man, so much stupid shit. I gotta say something. But the
Fuck
guy,
you.
but the chat's like uncooked ramen represent, but who eats
Thank
uncooked
you.
ramen?
Thank you.
But here's the thing, though, man. This is the same guy. The guy who eats uncooked ramen is the guy.
No. By the way, in case Chad, you're wondering what's gonna happen, I gotta win, so Nick instinctively has to find a way to kick me in the nuts.
You've been kicking me on that since we started.
Oh, and then now he's playing the victim. Watch what happens.
By the way, you just saw him play the victim right before you just said that I'm playing the victim. Guys, I mean, I don't have to explain or even, guide your eyes a certain way.
The Nick Diaz in his natural habitat.
You are a special kind of fucking dumb. But the thing is, I will say this really quick. It's like the guy who actually... I forgot what the fuck I was going to say, actually. God damn it, Alan. You got to let me finish the goddamn sentence. What the fuck?
Oh, sorry. Allow me to let you finish insulting me on the air.
But you just insulted me.
Yeah, fuck you.
God damn it. You look at the whole board, Alan.
No.
Jesus Christ.
Fuck the board. Look
Jojo Cat's like, you're both guilty. I didn't do nothing. I'm nice. I was asking him what he thought about certain things or whatever. But, he's all mean to me. He's saying I'm ugly. He called me fat. He said I don't know anything about Doritos. Fucking. Then he started talking good about Pepsi. I mean, how many times can you insult me, Alan? How many times?
None of those were insults.
Yeah, they were, to my core.
None of them were insults.
Pepsi.
You stopping the show to be like, this is why that was a special kind of dumb is a literal insult.
I'm just saying, you insulted me 5 times before that. It's just...
I didn't at all.
You read what you saw, ladies and gentlemen. You read what you saw.
You take, like, the most casual, difference of opinion is not an insult.
I mean, what... You're lame.
That's an insult.
That's nice. Good job, baby. That's how I'm insulting you. That's an insult. The thing is, though, guys, we're gonna be done talking about all this food and everything too, because I'm fucking hungry and I really want to eat a lot more stuff. But one thing I was gonna say too, by the way, very quick. Yo, nerds, they're the best. Not you guys.
Yes.
Fucking get the fuck out.
Nerds are fantastic. I haven't had those in years, but these
are delicious. Yeah, but even
See, I can't really eat like. Well, it's not like I can't eat them. I just prefer like other types of Nerds candies, like Nerds ropes or like Nerds gum, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, keep it hilarious. Asylum says nerds suck and pass and what the... Oh, come on.
I like them. I had them since I was a kid, but I used to... Fuck the whole purple whatever. You just open the top and just take it.
Yeah. But here's the thing, though. It's time to get into what we're going to be talking about. Now, before we get into all the main topics here or whatever, you read this particular comic book recently. What's it called again?
Batman Year One.
Batman Year One.
And if you are wondering why the fuck I'm doing this, I'm Batman's one of my favorite heroes of all time. But 2, The Long Halloween Part 2 is actually coming out. Part 1 is coming out in about a month. And The Long Halloween, I learned this recently, is the inspiration for my favorite movie of all time, The Dark Knight. Christopher Nolan read that and was like, he took bits and pieces to adapt and make into The Dark Knight. So to lead up to that, I'm reading a bunch of classic Batman stories, and a couple weeks ago, I did a review for Dark Knight Returns. Now, I'm going to start this the same way I started that one. Frank Miller is a colossal fucking racist, and I hate him with every being. Every single fiber of my being. He is consistently insulting my people ever since, again, the tragic events of 9/11. So I understand the animosity, but he went on tirades even before that and afterwards, specifically against my people, made comics in regards to that. I am not giving him respect. I am not giving any points. I am just going to tell the truth that in the 80s, he knew Batman better than anybody that has ever created Batman. With The Dark Knight Returns, that was one of the best interpretations I've ever seen of Batman, in one of the best comics I've ever read, where you got to go inside the mind of Bruce Wayne as he's older and how he would deal with these situations. In year one, this is basically where they want to redo the origins for all of the heroes, Superman and Wonder Woman, and the entire comic book industry was getting a reshuffle because we've been doing this for about 30 years, and we need to get new audiences, so we're just changing things up. So Frank Miller decides to pen the script and working with another artist to create year one. And I was a little worried because I really like Dark Knight Returns. How are we going to reinvent this character? They managed, he does it again. The next iteration of this character, and this becomes canon for a very long time, was one of the best reads I've done in a long time. Like I legitimately finished it earlier today because I was just burning through the 100-page big volume that it is. And the way it's broken up, because it's called Year One, and if you remember the movie, it was just this is just a movie from start to finish. But the way they break up this particular comic is there's always the date in the upper right corner. It'd be like January 1st, for instance. That's when he starts to kind of come back to Gotham and do stuff. And then it'd be a month later and you see him training and it'll say the dates associated to the corner. So the first time he goes out and does his thing, he gets fucked up, gets stabbed, gets shot, has to run the fuck away, almost dies. And then it's another 2 months before he actually does it. Whereas in the movie, it's the next scene. With this, the dates in there give you a sense of time that you never really get to see in either Batman Begins, where Christopher Nolan took a lot from this to make that movie, and also in the actual year one adaptation. So I really appreciated all of the days and all of the times.
Yeah, but one of the things too to add to that, whatever too, because I don't want to make it seem like, oh, he's gonna review, I'm just gonna sit back, because I am interested in this too. But if you guys saw that actually be put onto a video screen or whatever, you would have to deal with them doing boring shit oh, Bruce, you're down again. Yes, that was a crazy first day, am I right? Yeah. Fuck. And it'd be boring, or they would do very, very cheesy, very lazy crossfades, whereas in the comic book, just the date alone is all the context you need, and it's all the storytelling where your own imagination while you're in this can add in whatever the fuck, how that would be him just kind of not working for 2 months because he's fucked up.
Yeah, and it doesn't. You don't need any of the dialogue because he basically says at some points where it's oh yeah, he comes up with excuses. I'm skiing and whatever the fuck, or I'm at a party. The typical Batman stuff. But much like Dark Knight Returns, you get the little bubbles of his thoughts where he's basically consistently talking about, and that humanizes Batman more than we ever get to see, and honestly, in any of the movies. Where you get to see him going, oh man, I screwed up, or oh man, I got to do this, or oh shit, I'm getting pretty lucky right now. I got to stop pushing my luck. I'm making mistakes. And I sent you an image, one of my favorite panels ever. And this is reading those two comics is starting to make me hate current interpretations of Batman. Because there's this one time, this is the second time he goes out, he actually gets a costume and he's fighting a bunch of kids. And at one point he drops down, and it's this awesome fucking panel where he drops down and fucks them up. But then one of the kids falls over. And the next panel, Batman is scared. He's oh shit, I'm about to kill somebody. This is Batman Year One. The first time he's out, and he's worried about killing people because he's not a killer and he doesn't want to perpetrate the violence that happened to his family. Nobody does that Batman anymore. They're he's just this, oh, I'm so angry, I have to kill everyone. And you don't get that with, especially with the Matt Reeves doing his Batman. Batman looks so angry all the time, and people don't sit there. It's Batman has a lot of trauma, but he's not trying to perpetrate the exact same violence that was occurred to him. He is trying to basically deter people from violence, but he is trying to scare them, but not in a way that's going to result in bodies hitting the floor from fucking 10 feet up. It's it's just an image. There's no random explanation of, oh, Batman feels sad. It's in the art. It's in the I'm no killer. No bodies. I'm no killer. And just seeing that, I'm you never get to see Batman like that. Oh, Zack Snyder. Yeah, Zack Snyder.
Yeah, Zack Snyder's at the chat. That's hilarious.
Zack Snyder doesn't even understand that because Zack Snyder took a lot from The Dark Knight Returns. But The Dark Knight Returns, he still doesn't want to kill people. Even though he's older and it's harder for him to fight the same way. He's not a killer. But Zack Snyder said, fuck it, I don't care.
Yeah, but I will say, and just reverse to that, and I mean, you don't even have to respond to this really, but where I come from, guys, where, Alan is saying this and it sounds like a good thing or whatever, and I agree, but at the same time, it's for me, I think that nowadays with the new Batman or the Zack Snyder Batman or even like the one from Chris Nolan, I like that Batman not smiling or not being whatever. I like him being brooding and scary because these situations are very, very serious. And like we have seen a Batman before that would make a joke or would, kind of take something lightly. And now it's like, yeah, it might sound like we're constantly seeing him grumpy or whatever, but like we've seen a lot where he wasn't. So
Well,
it's
I'm
still
not saying
new.
you pull an Iron Man because I actually do want to respond to that. Not in a sense to attack, but in a sense to kind of explain where I'm coming from. When I'm saying I want to see more of that, I don't need to see the Iron Man goofy Batman. I'm saying that Batman is not necessarily a person that's filled with rage. He has that trauma, that rage within him, but he uses the suit to control that. Because the other image I sent to you, that's the Batman that he actually shows people. Because that is the second time he's gone out, so he doesn't understand how to showcase fear. Because he's afraid himself, but he needs to showcase that to the people around him. So the second image, that's Batman. That's how you do Batman. Because he basically cut the power, threw a smoke grenade in, all you see is the eyes. You can almost imagine the art in this comic is so fucking beautiful, where you can almost imagine the smoke dissipating, the cape around him, and he just says, "You've eaten enough." And you can almost imagine, not necessarily the fucking Rachel, you're eating enough, like not that stupid shit, some more gravitas to his voice. That's the Batman that you show to your enemies. But as an audience member, you need to see what's underneath the scowl, underneath the cowl, not just the scowl. You need to see what this character is, and the other panel showcases that. It's like he's a good person at heart. He tries his best to get people away from this life that's going to result in death and bodies, but he has to do that by making people afraid of him so that they don't shoot at him, or if they shoot, they're not accurate.
And he has to still do some kind of violence too, but like holding back, like over here. I don't know why he's going black, but like over here, I like this panel too, dude. Honestly, that's cool at the very, very bottom. He is making kind of a weird face in the bottom left. I mean, I wish the illustration.
He's kind of just like, oh shit, I don't want this kid to die.
Yeah, but like just seeing this whole thing, and by the way, I would have actually kind of liked to see this in a movie at some point. I don't think we've seen a Batman fight scene on a staircase thing like this, or what do you call that?
It's a staircase, or it's a flight of. It's usually the fire escape, I think it's called.
Yeah. Maybe increases Batman takes a cat in year one. Does he?
Yeah, actually he does. Basically later on, so basically this comic split between Batman year one, but also Gordon year one. So it's split between those characters because they work together, and you're seeing their story converge. And at one point, Batman basically, this is the first time he's basically been fighting crime at this point. This is the first time he actually saves somebody, legitimately saves a lady from getting hit by a truck. In doing so, that's when Gordon's like, holy shit, it's here. Then this part's like, holy shit, it's Batman. Hey, everyone get going up. SWAT team, explosions, all this crazy shit happens, and Batman has to run to this dilapidated fucking area. And there's a bunch of cats around, and at one point, the SWAT team's going, where the fuck is this guy? Oh, that fucking cat. Almost about to open fire, and Batman saves the fucking cat at his own expense. And then afterwards, goes up to the guy, just holds him up. You're about to kill a cat? What the fuck,
you
dude?
Motherfucker. Yeah, dude. No, but that's pretty cool, though. Like I said, dude, I'm glad that you're watching, or that you're reading these. I'm so used to saying watching when it comes to any kind of superhero, whatever. I mean, that's just...
You don't really do comic book reviews on here.
Yeah, but, looking at this, it's I've seen that image many times, to be honest, though. It's not saying, from this particular book or year one or whatever, but it's I do think Batman does that a lot, which is one thing I've actually liked, especially in no one likes Batman v Superman, so you can't say anything nice about it, but I will say this, his eyes in there were actually legitimately terrifying, the blue, and and he looks like a big ass fucking machine almost, because so much money put into the design. Flesh and Blood, Flesh and Blood, thank you very much for following us. And Bud too, if you want to bring that, we get high in this chat. Next,
the thing is, I understand your point, but my issue is that when I look at interpretations, because there have been plenty of times where it's when I look at an adaptation, I understand that it can't be exactly what I read, but I have to take something good from it. And what I take good from Ben Affleck's Batman is that fight scene he has in the warehouse is peak Batman. That is how Batman fights. That is how Batman analyzes the situation. That is how, he's on the banisters, he's analyzing the weapons, he's using his tech to level the playing field, he's using his abilities to just, almost like a suit, he basically acts like a slasher villain. He's in the shadows, he takes out people, he scares the fuck out of them, and then he goes to town when he needs to. That's how you do Batman. But my issue is that you never get to see what's behind it, because everyone's people right now don't know the difference between Batman and the Punisher. When there's such a fundamental difference between those two. But when it comes to movies, Batman, it hurts people and he's violent, right? So that's him under the mask. No, he's not. He tries his best to use the suit to get out his rage, but when the suit is off, you understand what kind of person he is.
Yeah, no, and I completely agree with you there. And yeah, dude. I mean, I guess because I mean, for me, I don't even know how to even do these kind of reviews or whatever. So I'm just gonna ask you straight up, rating wise, to wrap it all up, out of 5, man, what would you numerically give something like this?
Oh, this is a 4 out of 5. Like
4 out of 5.
legitimately, I was reading it today, and I was like, "Oh, well, maybe I won't finish it. Maybe I'll try to save it." But then I got to the point where like, there's only 20 pages. Okay, let's go. Like, just straight reading the whole thing, and it was fantastic. Whereas I couldn't put it down. Like, I recommend everyone go out and get it. And it's like, yes, I know if you can get it like from a secondhand comic book shop, cool. Because at the end, I'll end this review like, this is a 4 out of 5. But fuck you, Frank Miller. You are a fucking racist. But in the 80s, you fucking knew Batman better than anybody else. And the only person to me that ever got Batman outside of the, I guess, animated show was Christopher Nolan, The Dark Knight. He puts a humility to Batman that you don't really get to see. And I want, like, my Mary's Batman is not going to do that for me, but I want someone to have the balls to do a live action Batman that is sympathetic, that actually shows he cares, not just he's angry all the time.
Yeah, no, but 4 out of 5 for you, dude, which is actually I'm kind of.
It's the highest rating I'll give anything, in all honesty. I don't believe in perfect ratings, so 4 out of 5 is really the highest rating I'll give anything.
But you know, with that context, that's essentially any of our 5 out of 5s. Like, if you say you're never gonna give something a 5 out of 5, then your new 100% A plus perfect score is literally 4 out of 5.
Oh yeah, well I'll give you the reason I won't give it 4 out of 5 is I'll give you my only criticism. In The Dark Knight Returns, Batman's voice was in blue text. So whenever you saw blue text, you understood who was speaking. In this one, they put cursive writing, which gets really confusing sometimes of what the fuck he's saying, because I can read cursive, but it's the print is so small that I'm like, I'll just use context clues to figure out what the fuck he said.
Yeah. By the way, sorry if I didn't respond right away. I'm just talking over here in the Facebook chat. Which, by the way, guys, Facebook chat. You know, on Twitch chat we can't read everything, but if you guys send bits, we'll read them right away. But if you're in our Facebook chat, I will respond instantaneously. So just to let you guys know, that's what's going on over there. You'll probably see like my face pop up. My face looks really weird coming out of the back, the back fucking ground or whatever. I literally forgot what background is. Like, Jesus Christ, I think
the back area, the round part of the back. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, something of that nature. But yeah, 4 out of 5 for you for Batman Year One. And once again, you know, even though I'm a little bit shocked, I am glad that that's what you felt about that movie. But, God, that comic book.
Honestly, it's like, I really think, like, I'm not sure if you would enjoy it, but for people that it's like that are into comics and are just really tired of current interpretation of Batman, go read the classics, because the classics, what they do with the character, it's like imagine someone doing a like, the best way to describe it is like, people are like, they think they know Batman because they look at the imagery, but it's like, imagine if current interpretation of Batman, imagine if a bad guy in the Batman universe was telling you what Batman was. And then they made a movie about that interpretation. That's what we're getting now. Oh yeah, he has wings and he'll like throw shit and like, oh god, people are bleeding and broken bones and everything. It's like, well, that's Batman, right? It's like, well, actually no. The man doesn't actually do open fighting a lot. He really hangs out in the background and he wants to freak you out. He wants you to believe all the rumors because that gives him a protection.
21071 Seafish says, have you reviewed Castlevania? No, we have not yet, but we're going to be doing it later on in the week. But Double Toast is going to be doing it tonight. But here's the thing we are going to be reviewing. We're going to be reviewing Those Who Wish Me Dead. Which I was very shocked that Corey was not going to be reviewing, but I guess I kind of understand why, but we'll get right into it. This movie, I will say, and I mean, normally we would do synopsis or whatever, we do reviews a little bit differently here, but I will say that this movie has a very effective start. I think nowadays, by the way, and this is like a side tangent, but like nowadays, I think all movies have that wait the fuck up, you're watching our movie type of moment, where it's like, it's almost like climactic, where, you know, everything serves as exposition as to why this concept or this character is the focus of the movie. And I feel like, you know, with most movies, we get like 10 minutes of all this crazy shit before we even see a title card. Like, do you notice that too sometimes or no?
Usually it's like you have to do the whole, to get the audience in. It's like the whole rules of cinema, get them in the first 10 minutes and they won't want to leave. But I can't count the amount of times where a movie starts off with a great action scene and it's terrible the rest of the movie.
Exactly. But I do appreciate that this movie did this within 2 minutes. Like, it puts us in the scare of a forest fire where, you know, firefighters are screaming, the wind is turning, oh shit, and there's kids screaming, there's all this crazy shit going on, and showing basically the unpredictability of a fire. And then Angelina Jolie wakes up from, like, I guess this is a dream, but it's kind of mixed between like a dream and a memory. And yeah, man, I mean, they even do a good job making her look like a crazy person. I mean, I think they did a very good job at doing that.
She's very unstable. She's very traumatized, and she uses a lot of, like, this is a situation where she actually does use humor to basically cover up the fact that she's at any point going to burst into tears. Because it's like, hey, she's a firefighter. She has to lift people out of danger. She has to do all this crazy stuff. and she's around other men, and she has to keep that persona up. But when the quote unquote cameras are off and no one's around, she'll basically go to the woods and just get a good cry out.
Yeah, and but yeah, so right after we see that, we see something as casual as a home visit that looks like some kind of door-to-door fucking like, I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah.
I knew. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, I knew. Because you know why? Littlefinger's always an asshole.
Oh, I don't even know who that is. What's that?
Game of Thrones, he was the biggest asshole in the whole show. Caused so many problems. He was
I thought you were
basically
bringing up fucking Little Bear.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say, like, wait. Did he start a forest fire? And like the other bear's
No.
like, hey, don't you do that? I have commercials.
I mean, but no. Every movie he's ever been in, he's like John Bernthal. If John Bernthal's in a movie, he's probably the bad guy most of the time.
Yeah, no, and even there's some things brought up with him because he's in this, which is pretty cool. But like, yeah, dude, the guy goes over there, and for me, I like that they didn't waste time playing a wool over the audience's eyes. Like they just come out seconds later, the one dude telling the other dude like, "Hey, you got blood on your shirt," and they're like, "All right, time to go to Jacksonville for our next act of business." And behind them, the house they just entered just explodes. So now, like, we're 40 minutes into the movie, and we got an explosion, a scary bad dream, a sequence that shows a scary forest fire or whatever. Which is what the whole movie is trying their best to sell. We got our bad guys, we got our female hero, we got to go for our villains. Like, this, people, is what I call economic filmmaking. We are literally at 4 minutes into the movie, and they're doing more in this 4 minutes than most movies do in like 30 minutes. And I'm officially on for the ride at this point where I'm just like, I didn't even care about this movie 2 minutes before I even fucking put it on. I was like, Jed, you want to watch this? No. All right, I'm going to watch it for the show. And now I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go. Now, the thing is, I don't know if this is something that I should have foreseen beforehand because the guy who's directing this is Taylor Sheridan, who was the writer for Wind River, Hell or High Water, both Sicario movies, Yellowstone.
Really, both?
Yeah, both of them, which I feel like they are very different movies, but I mean...
Yeah, that's what threw me off. Like, both? I could get one or the other, but both? Okay.
But the biggest thing, though, is he did Without Remorse.
What?
Yeah.
How do you make Without Remorse and then make this? You really like Fire.
Yeah. No, oh, yes. Oh, my God, yes.
Like, you really enjoy Fire.
Yeah, dude, which is hilarious. But for me, it's like, and he did Yellowstone. That's a show, by the way. But I think I said that earlier. But for me, like, I don't know much about those other movies because I didn't see a lot of them. But like Yellowstone, I think is a bit of a basic story, and Without Remorse is a basic story. But and this movie obviously is basic. But like Alan, I was gonna ask you, since you've seen Sicario and probably some of the other ones, is like Wind River and Hell or High Water and all those movies simple too, or?
Yeah. Well, I've not seen Wind River, but I did watch Hell or High Water. I wasn't a particularly huge fan of it. I just, but I could definitely tell. Like, I knew that. That's all I knew. I knew that this dude also worked on or directed or whatever he did with Hell or High Water. So I'm like, it's a very simple story that's very like down to earth, and it tries its best to be very like. You can almost imagine this happens. Like, it's not like this big thing like a John Wick. Oh man, you dual wielding fucking machine guns and shit. It's like, no, it's a very simple story, a very dark story that ends with a lot of like. It's always in like the countryside. It's never like big cities. It's always small, isolated areas.
Yeah. But no, man. But I'm looking at this, and and by the way, like due to the travels of a review. When you're doing a podcast, I'll have to be polite enough to give you like a synopsis, which simply put, just a girl, what's her name? I was saying America Jolie. What's her name?
America Jolie. Yes, America Jolie in the America. No, kidding.
No, Angelina Jolie. I was gonna call her Jolie or Angie or something because that's kind of a mouthful. But basically, she plays a woman who is dealing with her miscalculations from the previous year in the forest fire where people actually died. So she's dealing with like guilt and PTSD and more. And I guess somebody in charge of her, like, sanctioned her to live in a tower and let people know, like, when smoke is seen in the forest, so they can take care of the situation. And while this is happening, two corporate con men are basically killing off a list of people. That reminds me of Collateral, by the way. Have you noticed that? A little bit.
It's typical hitman shit. Hey, some accountant found some bad shit going on, so we got to silence them or we'll lose a lot of money. And yeah, basically Angelina Jolie's character kind of just in a bad spot, bad place, and their paths collide, and you see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. Because one of the things that happens here is like on this particular list, they go through a couple of people, whatever. I mean, they allude to like they killed more than what we saw on screen. They probably don't want to spend a lot of money and or time showing that because this movie is economically filmmaking, which I love. But anyways, when they're killing the last guy, they didn't factor in that the guy would actually be with his kid. So the kid escapes. They know that the kid escaped, and they're afraid that this kid's gonna go spill them beans and tell people, hey, you killed my dad. It's fucked up. So, God apparently cannot stand Angelina Jolie. God's like, fuck that bitch. And he is striking her with Raiden down forward low punch antics, throwing thunderbolts at her tower.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck she did at that tower, but apparently it was an affront to God.
Yeah, what the fuck? I mean, is there any way we can explain just how ridiculous? Like we just talked about Twister last week,
There's
guys.
like, as much as I enjoy this movie, there's a lot of ridiculous shit that happens in this movie that I'm like, you guys are the worst assassins in the world.
Yeah, but also it's like, I'm not trying to defend her or them or anything, but like, who could have foreseen that there was going to be thunder strikes that literally had a personal agenda with motherfuckers?
Bro, that I'll say this, like it was just random, like out of context stuff. That kid in the movie is braver than I am
Oh
because
yeah,
there's
he
a
is.
scene with lightning that this motherfucker runs through like he's saving Private Ryan. Me, I'm going back. I'll take the bullets. I can deal with that shit.
Oh my god, man! No, it's ridiculous. But this kid goes through all that shit, and while dealing with all that, she comes across the young boy running away from the killers.
Yeah.
I think they just showed them right there. And a friend of Angelina Lee, right there, John Bernthal, gets roped into this just because like he's seeing all these people get killed, and or not, he's not seeing the people get killed, but he's a security guy.
He's
Like,
a sheriff, so he's discovering the bodies, and basically kind of gets roped in, where he's seeing a lot of these different characters all get roped into this one plot.
yeah, but the thing is, though, it's like I feel like John Bernthal did a pretty good job here because you're saying like, yeah, dude, like this is one of the situations where John Bernthal just plays the same character over and over again. I don't feel like he was
Oh
doing the same thing
no,
this time.
he does because he kind of plays that asshole. But to me, I'm just thinking this is a prequel to The Walking Dead, and he plays Shane.
Yeah, and he sees another girl. By the way, like Angelina Jolie is a prettier version of Sarah Wayne Gellis. Like he looks like Laurie, or she looks like Laurie from The Walking Dead.
Yeah,
a
the
little bit.
same haircut even.
Yeah, and like the same, like I'm just depressed. I'm just gonna sit around and be quiet. And then, like every girl that looks like that, I gotta be chasing some fucking kid, whether it's my son or whether it's somehow my
Oh,
responsibility.
come on, let's be real here. That's Angelina Jolie's like half her career.
Actually, I can't even think of another one that she does that. But,
I
I mean,
can
I
do.
don't know
It's
shit.
called The Changeling, where she's looking for her son the entire fucking movie.
God, by the way, I remember that movie just because its name used to confuse the fuck out of me. The Changeling.
Yeah, because I looked up Changeling. I was, oh yeah, it's a monster movie. No, the fuck it isn't.
The thing is, though, John Bernthal's character has to be kept alive because these guys know that he's a tracker, and they're like, "Hey, we're too stupid, we're too dumb, we can't find boy." So they want John Bernthal to go in and track him down and find him, which is cool. I have to say though, because here's the biggest thing about this entire. I mean, we just talked a lot, but if that's not enough synopsis for you, by the way, here's just one
That's
last.
actually most of the movie. We probably give you too much.
Well, that's the thing. Is like one last little bit of information is that down forward low punch god shit that he's doing to Angelina. Well, it's a forest. Lightning is bad for them trees and wood. So start a forest fire, the nemesis of Jolie's past. So while she and the boy are trying to survive these assassins, I guess, wherever the fuck they are,
Yeah.
she's gotta like fight fire because she's a firefighter, and firefighters fight fires. So like, gotta go. Yeah, and then she's fighting the bad guys, so gotta fight fire with fire. So like the whole movie's just fire, 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 and I like that, Alan. It's pretty cool.
I mean, I like that, but I think I just think the way the fire starts is fucking stupid.
It's so
We're gonna
stupid.
start this fire. Why? Well, I'm like,
Dude.
I both wanted the explanation to it, but literally when you get there, I was like, this is the stupidest thing in this fucking movie. Like the rest of this movie seems pretty, like, except for like the movie, like, oh hey, this coincidentally met up with this person coincidentally. Like it's a movie, you kind of have to let the coincidences slide. But when the reason that fire starts, I'm like, oh my fucking god, really, bro? This is the best you could come up with. But besides that, the rest of this movie is, again, it's very slow burn. It's like, as much as there's explosions and fires and gunshots and whatever, it's very conservative where you don't get a lot of it, but you get little spurts of it. But it's a very slow burn. Like this, like the first 40 minutes, they make it seem like it's exciting. It's not, but not in a bad way. Like I legitimately was like, I'm enjoying this movie. But there's only little things. Like it's not like, oh man, rush out to watch it. But if you're watching this on HBO Max, you're gonna enjoy yourself because there's a lot going on in this movie. But it takes its time and lets you basically kind of get to know everyone's going on. Even if they don't get a lot of depth, you get enough depth to go on. And all the actors are nailing it. The father, the little kid. Usually kids like this are terrible in this movie. But that kid, like every emotion he had, you felt. Like every single one. And again, that kid is braver than I am because if that lightning storm was me, I'm either screaming like a kid or running the other fucking way and taking my chances with a
Screaming
fucking
like a
bullet.
kid, you're screaming like a bitch. Let me
You
just
goddamn
correct
fucking
that
right.
shit.
But people don't know. I have a huge fear of lightning. Like it's one of my number one fears.
Yeah, man. I have to say though that there's a lot here that reminds me of Without Remorse, to be honest. And I don't know if it's just because it's fresh in my brain, but like we're dealing with Hitman, we're dealing with people with PTSD, we're dealing with a movie that has a relatively hefty amount of emotion, while at the same time has levity that just doesn't fit, in my opinion. Sometimes, like There's like one part where she's literally like, I mean, they already, she already met up with a boy and everything too, and they're in the forest, and she's telling them how to like make out with cheerleaders, like how to get girls to like her.
You gotta do a little bit because like it's so dark up to that point, and they're dealing with so much that it's like because they're doing that where it's like you can't just sit there and be like, we have to be upset type. Like it's a kid, you have to kind of let the levity a little bit. It wasn't too much. There was one scene I bursted out laughing where it's like, it's okay, buddy. My dad called me buddy. Oh fucking shit.
Yeah,
like everything she says makes the kid sadder, and I'm like, yeah, because it's conservative. We're like, okay, get because the audience at this point is like, holy shit, a lot has happened. So let's kind of live it up a little bit. But yeah, there's a lot that's going on. The only thing about this movie that like outside this reason for the fire, there's another thing I don't like where when you see the flashbacks and you get an explanation of what happened. Angelina Jolie has the worst reaction. Like when in the present day, it's fine because she's on the verge of tears. She's upset and angry. But literally, when they show her and she's dealing with it, she just goes.
Yeah.
So like, and I'm just laughing. Where I'm
yeah.
like, do you care or are you pretending to care right now? Because that's the
to,
worst
like,
reaction.
Like, do I stink? Like, well, like, but like, even go back to the levity thing a little bit too. Like, there's a part where Jolie is out here trying to commit suicide, like in a very purposefully accidental way. One of which we actually seen in a movie. Like she this is something her character does, but like this one she's literally doing in the movie where she straps herself to an old parachute and just lets it go. And they already have pretty much said like, yo, like this thing will.
Hey, don't do dumb shit. And she's doing dumb shit.
Does dumb shit. But like at the same time, I think that would have been sad. That would have been really. That's actually a pretty good thing as far as writing goes. But in this movie, it comes across as like wild and it has like a quirky hijinks. And then while John Bernthal's telling her like not to do that shit and he's concerned, they start like almost flirting. Like was that
a little bit? They were like that's his ex-wife. They say that earlier in the movie, where not necessarily flirting, but that playful banter because they're not like they're randos. Like he's married to her, and they never really say it out loud, but it basically kind of I guess implied like the events of her past probably made it so she didn't want to be around anyone, and that just made them drift apart. They don't talk about it, but it's like, hey, that kind of stuff happens. But I didn't really mind it because it's that kind of it's the same thing with Extraction. Where at the start of Extraction, it's like, oh man, how that must be 100 feet as Chris Hemsworth just jumps off of that. Who gives a shit?
Well, another thing too I want to bring up as well is like that romantic part because like I forgot that they're like literally I would have wrote that here. I'm like, oh yeah, I've completely forgot like they're an old couple. But then like on top of it too, like afterwards he has an argument with his wife. And they're smiling while arguing. Like, she's like, hey, like, how did that go? And he's like, oh, you know how it is. And he's like, not telling her shit. If I had that same situation happen with me and I told, like, my girlfriend, like, hey, my ex-girlfriend, we just hung out. I'm not going to tell you anything about it, though. Like, wouldn't she go, like, hey, what the fuck? Like, if I was hanging out with
I like the interaction because he's explaining, like, oh, I had a few words. And, like, it's playful banter. At one point, it's like, oh, why are you agree with her? Ha, ha, ha. And he asks, hey, are we fighting? She's like, no, we're not fighting. Like, that was a pretty healthy relationship, a pretty healthy way of dealing with it. Where it's like, yeah, they probably deal with each other. Hi. But yeah, the relationship between Bernthal and his wife was fantastic. A lot of the characterization with everyone that was kind of going was, it worked out really well. It felt every single connecting piece felt like it made a lot of sense. It's just about the climb, not necessarily the climax, but as it's gearing up towards the climax, it felt like it was coincidence for coincidence sake, and that always bothers me when there's not like a legitimate reason for characters to meet up. It's more of like, well, we're the only people in existence in this general area, so let's all just kind of meet up. And I'm like, yeah, that's really coincidental. And how do you track someone at night? Like,
yeah, that was another weird thing.
Exclusively, you have to look at shit.
Yeah, I found that kind of weird too, but like I kind of get it somewhat. But like the thing is too, I wanted to bring this up. Oh, okay. So John Bernthal and his wife, I actually liked them a lot in the sense where it just felt like even when she's squeezing his head and choking him or whatever, they're doing it playfully, by the way, guys.
Oh, but way better than
without remorse.
Happening without remorse of no, let me go now. I'm like, this is uncomfortable.
By the way, did this make you feel retroactively that it was Michael B. Jordan's fault that shit felt so weird?
Nah, I think it was just bad directing. Like, I don't know if this I don't know what he did with that remorse. I doubt he directed it because that's like 2 movies in the same year. But like, I think it was just bad direction where it's like, hey, be a little bit playful, do a little bit more. But this one it worked a lot better, maybe because the female's being not necessarily the aggressor, but she was initiating it, so she was able to be a bit more playful. And John Bernthal showing some actual like vulnerability with that, where it's like he still has his John Bernthal isms, but he's actually acting like an actual person.
Yeah. But I just feel like, yeah, that was done very, very well, but it just made me look at other things like, wow, that was kind of bad. But I guess everything I said at the beginning of this discussion reigns consistent and true throughout the entire movie, though. Constantly moving, constantly reassuring the goal, the purpose of these characters, the actions of the characters, the dangers of its setting.
Yeah.
And other than the typicals of an action movie where, a storm, like, I think this is what Alan was talking about, but, like, the end of the movie, they're running away from the fire, and the fire was like, hey, let me just speed up. And the fire
Look, God
hit
is not a
L3.
huge fan of Angelina Jolie. That's all I'm gonna say.
That was the dumbest fucking shit I've ever seen. Or not ever seen. I've seen. It's just I hate when storm movies or fire.
I don't like people outrunning like explosions
Avalanches.
or avalanche. Oh, yeah, I don't like people outrunning things because it's like, look, man, fire's really fast. Though the way they I recommend watching the movie. The way they deal with that problem is actually incredibly genius. I really enjoyed that. But it's like, yeah, we gotta make sure it's sensitive because look, man, forest fires are a huge problem, but not because they're fast, but because they spread a lot. So it's like you essentially can get surrounded very quickly. It's not like you're not outrunning it like Tom Cruise. Like it's more of just a situation of you're outrunning it. The problem is you're now in a circle of fire.
Yeah, and like another thing is like if we can make fun of the Day After Tomorrow where they run away from the wind.
I will consistently. That movie fucking sucks.
Yeah, but this hurt my rating for this big time. I mean, I just have to say it. But like,
Okay.
yeah, no, I mean, it's whatever. I mean, I just have to say that I had a great time watching this, even with that stupid shit at the end. And this being on HBO Max is probably the best thing going for it because if people spend money on this movie, I think it became a much harsher reaction. But for what it is, I think it's a good movie. You should watch it with an audience that's not cynical. If there are people in your household that don't frequent Red Letter Media or Double Toasted or Channel Awesome or IMDb, show them this. They will legitimately love it, and it's because they like to enjoy life, movies, and things unlike other online personalities. Maybe, they won't bitch about shit because the overall Rotten Tomatoes score is low. So, yeah, and by the way, no, I don't know what the Rotten Tomatoes score is for this because I don't look at that shit.
Yeah, this feels like it's going to be along the same levels of Wind River and Hell or High Water, where it's like, if it was going to theaters, Angelina Jolie will sell the movie, so people will go, it'll make money because of that. But if it was anybody else, it wouldn't do as well. But the fact that it's going to be on like HBO Max, it's like, yeah, it's going to be profitable no matter what, just because it's on there. So, they're not going to make a fucking sequel anytime soon, but this writer-director is probably going to make more movies. Because it seems like he kind of found his niche. We're going to set area in these remote areas. We're going to tell kind of real stories, and every now and then we'll have a little bit of crazy, but nothing in this movie feels overly like, oh, we're like, oh, I don't believe this could happen. It all feels relatively, like, realistic.
Yeah, but for me, 3.5 out of 5 for me. I'd imagine that, the scores around the internet are probably low for this, but like I had a good time, and if you're not cynical, then you can allow yourself to have a good time too. But yeah, 3.5 out of 5. How about you, Alan?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair rating. I think that it wasn't like, oh my god, this is so crazy, but every time there was something cool to watch, it was actually legitimately cool. Like there's a shootouts that are really good. There's really cool. There's a lot of good special effects. There's good acting. Everything about it was good. It's just there's a couple things that bothered me a little bit that I felt could have been tightened up because this is under 2 hours, so. I felt like if you added 10 more minutes, you might have been able to flesh out a couple things and add a couple things just to make it less movie magic for a lot of the things that happen. But that's like little nitpicks at this point. But overall, like I wasn't bored. I didn't hate it. There wasn't a single like, oh, that's bad. It was more of that's really dumb. And I think you're stupid, but that's it.
Yeah. But moving on, guys. So I know that the thumbnail actually has a picture of Star Wars Bad Batch Episode 3 on there. When you see Omega. I just want to say really, really quick, if you guys are very, very curious, I actually really like this episode. I'm just going to give it a 4 out of 5 right now, too, or just in general. But tomorrow I will be fully reviewing it. So hopefully you're not too spoiled. I mean, I don't think you guys really give a fuck about my name.
And if you're wondering why, well, the next topic will explain why he's waiting for tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. So just so you guys know, tomorrow will be fun, and if you guys want to shoot the shit and talk about Bad Batch, whatever, it'll be fun. We can go back and forth. You guys can educate me because I know there's gonna be a lot of things in my review that you guys are not gonna be able to understand, or I'm not gonna be able to understand, and you guys can teach me how I'm wrong. But moving on, this is the big Kahuna in this motherfucker, Alan. First off, I just want to say thank you for buying me this game. I really appreciate that. I want to put that out there because people. And I don't know if that has anything to do with my review, but like for me, when I'm bought games, if I don't like it, I don't like it. And it doesn't change anything about like how this game is. I'll just be like, I appreciate it.
Know what I expected to. I said, well, I gotta like the game because he bought it. It's like, no, I just bought this just because I was able to get a discount, and I was like, he really likes this. I'll give it to him for a discount as well.
Yeah, but guys, right here, and by the way, this is gonna be spoilers. The reason why I waited till Corey started to talk about this is because I'm not doing no fucking moving around for. Like,
I think we can. There are certain things that there's certain sequences. I don't want to go into too much detail, especially the second sequence with the doll. I think that like if you haven't played it and you're listening to this review, I do want to say that, but I think we should have a spoiler section at the end of the review, or at least like somewhere near the end.
Okay, well, we could probably do that. I just don't want to be here too long. But here's the
I
thing.
got
Right away, I think the biggest question here, and that everyone wants to do with the franchise is so long, is where does it land in your favorite games of all time? Now, me, I don't have a thing that Alan has where he doesn't like recency biases or bias.
Yeah.
I don't mind having recency bias. I can
This is the
tell,
best Resident Evil ever.
dude. But I gotta tell you, man, I don't know how we can top this. This game is so fucking good. Like,
I could think of a couple ways, but like in all honesty, like I'll let you finish.
yeah, for me, I gotta say, I'm not gonna give my rating for the game yet, but I will say that just in general for the overall like the Resident Evil experience and who they're trying to like entertain.
Yeah.
If you're just someone who wants to enjoy any Resident Evil game, doesn't matter if it's the action ones, horror ones, whatever, somewhere in here you have been satisfied. This is like I always say it's about wrestling, WWE, where it's like no matter what kind of entertainment you're into, you probably don't like wrestling, but somewhere in that show you'll be entertained by something, even if
It manages to capture a lot of stuff for different audiences because there are situations where gamers would ask, RE7 was super scary. Did they tone it down? Technically,
Yeah.
Like I don't because it does different stuff, but not as different as people think.
Yeah, and for me, it's like because of that, this is the second best Resident Evil game ever made, easily, fucking lead, the second best.
This is top 5.
Yeah, I mean it's
Easily.
incredible, and the thing is I mean, you wanted your special successors to Resident Evil 4, you got it. You want some scary moments that are like Resident Evil 7, you got it. You want first person, you got it. But you wanted like some scares and a bunch of enemies coming at you that look like zombies and also look like other things, you got it. Like
You want
boss
interesting
fights-
bosses that all have their own background levels and interesting things that go to them? Go ahead.
You want a mode that you get to play that makes the main game more fun and more replayable, and it has a bunch of action. You got it. Like fucking everything.
Oh, fuck yeah.
But to
You
start
want
off,
an incredibly well-written story with plot twist, and I'm mad at you, E-Mike, you motherfucker. I don't know if you're in this goddamn chat, but don't spoil shit the day the game releases.
yeah, that's not nice, Mike. That's very very bad juju. But no, man. But like that. Then another thing too is like if you like those annoying fucking puzzles that I don't like, you still got it. These guys thought for everybody. They were like, we're gonna entertain anyone who's ever liked a Resident Evil fan or Resident Evil game. You will enjoy this fucking game somewhere. For me, there's points I don't like. Now I'm gonna start from the beginning here, where it's like for one, I just want to say, I right away did not like playing as Ethan. I didn't like Ethan. I didn't play all of Resident Evil 7. I watched a lot of gameplay. It's always just I'm like, oh fuck, oh shit, whatever.
He's a regular guy in that one, so it makes sense that he's freaking out.
Yeah, and I guess it helps the horror aspect, but like I'm playing Resident Evil 8 now. I saw that the trailers were had a bunch of action, and yet we still got like, his hands fucked up, and then like Chris, what'd you do? It's like he's constantly just being tortured by the situation over and over, and then like, starting off once we get to the area with like the werewolves and everything. For me personally, I just kind of thought like, this is starting off where how does everything happen right like next to fucking Ethan? Like he's always like right dab in the middle of the situation, and it seems like they're trying to make it like it just so happens that he's there. It just so happens that this affected him, and I'm like, dude, no, like this is like too good to be true.
He's the main character of the game, so things have to happen near him. Like events, like anyone that goes near him either has to get like shot or he has to like somehow get them off screen enough to save their lives. But it's main character syndrome.
No, I mean, and this is why I thought it was gonna be hard to do, non-spoiler. But like, I will say, guys, that like, there's a twist that kind of explains that later on.
Yeah.
But this whole game, I was like, this is bullshit until something happens and it reveals that it's not so bullshit. But I feel they could have done a better job with that. But then if they did a better job with it, the way I would write it, if they fixed the randomness at the beginning, it would have completely took out the twist. So like, you kind of had to do it that way, which is fine.
I think there are ways they could have scaled it back a little bit because there are things that even I complained about, but when, things go on near the game and revelations happen, it makes a lot more sense. But I think it should have been a situation where you're not taken out of it, and that ends up being a problem. But like once you kind of deal with that and go through the rest of the game, it's like it's not as big as an issue, but like definitely the start of the game had a situation where it's like they front load this a lot, but luckily it doesn't affect the whole game.
And the big thing that I'm going to say that's negative right away is the overhype of Lady Dimitrescu. I'm sorry, but she is not great.
I actually liked her, and I liked how conservative they kept her, where it's like this situation where it could have been like Voss, where it's like, he's the selling point, he's the coolest part of the game. What happens after you beat him? The game goes downhill. It doesn't happen here. In fact, she is like, she's a good starting boss. In fact, she's probably one of the best starting bosses where it's like, you think it's going to be a Mr. X or Nemesis or whatever. In fact, she probably has as much screen time as Nemesis in RE3 remake. So.
Yeah.
But they end up doing. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, no, I'm sorry. And I know we're probably because we're both like so happy that this even came out. That I think that we're both like, oh god, like we're just excited. So
we get a chance to talk about this beforehand because I want to talk about so we get this all out. But now we're just kind of going randomly.
Yeah, but I mean, and I guess like we're trying to be too random. But I mean, I want to start off with just like stage from stage and like here. You know, the mansion that she's at is pretty cool. I do think that lots of the shit that you have to do that's just like, where'd I go? Where'd I go? Where'd I go?
Yeah.
It's like, it's fucking annoying. It's really annoying, and the bosses literally get in the way. I don't like corridors already, but you have a girl who's so fucking thick that there's no way to get around her sometimes. I had, maybe you didn't have struggles, I did.
Oh, no, that is, and I think that's necessarily on purpose, because, like, what was one of the easiest ways to deal with Nemesis or Mr. X? Juke and then run. This is a situation where there's so many doors and inconsistent look at your map that you have to internalize a lot of the directions, but it made a situation where you can't just run around her. But like, and I like that a lot. Whereas like there are times when I can run around her. No, she sliced me twice. I'm fucking dead. So I'm like, oh, I see her down the hallway. Okay, let me just do that. Oh, I actually don't want to go through that door. So let me just shoot her and then run around her so I can get through that doorway easier. Like I like that because it's very claustrophobic. And seeing an enemy walk towards you, you just one of your exits is gone. You cannot exit that way. You have to go back or you have to go to the side. And I actually really enjoy that.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, and Andy, and I know a lot of people are going to say this too, it's like, well, get good, or, oh, just block and move, and it's like, well, yeah, but like...
Nah, you don't block her attack, she fucks you up.
Yeah, and I did block, I mean, it did work a couple times, but like, a lot of the time, I'm just stuck somewhere, and I'm like, okay, like, this is not as scary as it is frustrating. And same thing with the bug girls. You know, they should have did a better job, I think, graphically, that when you shoot them, they should react better, or it should be more obvious that the bugs have evaporated for a second, and she's going to come back and fight you. Yeah. The idea that like these girls look the same, they say the same stuff, and they're doing all very basic witch shit. Oh, I have a man thing here. I'm gonna suck them. Yeah, like it's like okay, I get it. Like crazy white girls with bug pussies running after me. Oh yeah, it's like, can y'all do something? Like I thought we were in 2021.
Again, they're fucking with it. I didn't mind that too much because it's like, yeah, they're basically trying to not necessarily tempt Ethan, but they're fucking with him in a way that's like they're used to fucking with men like that by essentially being sultry. But like because again, Ethan's has actual like fortitude. He doesn't really fall for that shit. But I liked all three of the bosses because they have the same gimmick to beat them, but the levels were really interesting as far as how you're fighting them. That it became like, hey, run around the environment. But like unlike the RE7 bosses, where the movement was so goddamn stiff that it was hard to even turn around. With this, I had no problems with those bosses. In fact, I really liked them, and I like the gimmick of like that explains why they hate Windows. Because the game has the note system, and I've always hated the note system in RE. I've always thought almost 90% of that shit is completely pointless. If some guy goes, I scratched my ass today, why are you writing this down, bro? Why the fuck do I care? But this is like some guy's like, oh man, I opened a window and they almost killed me. I'm like, what? Okay, it's a window. It's a big deal. Open a window. Oh, that's why.
Yeah. And one other thing too to discuss is just like the dialogue in general. I'll give RE7 this. Having that first-person view was very effective, considering the fact that when people like come after you, the main boss, especially that one guy, I think his name is Jack, but he breaks a door or a wall or whatever, and he's like,
"Oh, bro, that gets me every time. He'll just go right the fuck through."
Yeah, and he's like, "Get your ass over here!" And it's scary, and it fits his stature, how he's standing, whatever. But like, these girls are flirting with me, and yet like. The animation when she's sucking my blood, she's still talking. It's like, this is kind of silly. And then it's like, come on, join us. But like, it's almost like there's a randomizer. Like someone's just like, okay, we're gonna put a bunch of like words for her to say, and if you shoot her, she'll just say one of these random words. It won't go to anything.
I mean, you describe gameplay, but at the end of it, like to go to a point as far as what their thing was, like, yeah, Jack was supposed to be to terrify you, was supposed to basically make you make mistakes. But this first portion with Lady D and the rest of her, the rest of the Powerpuff Girls, it wasn't necessarily to be. The joke of Lady Bellum and the Powerpuff Girls is fucking hilarious. But they weren't necessarily trying to be scary. They're not like even though she looked like she would be fit in with Mr. X, it was basically something very different because she's very angry. Like when you start killing off her children, she starts just getting mad at you and starts screaming at you. So it's less of like I'm gonna try to scare you, but more of I'm really pissed off with you to the extent where you almost feel like, wow, Ethan just really just fucked up everything. Like he just kind of came in and started murdering people. Where the next subsequent areas, they're fucking with Ethan a little bit more. But with Lady D, it's like I think that was a great introduction because it wasn't too scary, but it also gave you enough tutorial bosses because they felt like tutorial bosses for you to get used to the game. So.
True.
Especially having that to start, like if it was just if that was the whole game where you just fight the 3 bosses and then you fight Lady D, this game would suck. But the fact that it's only the first chunk and you get basically as many boss fights as other Resident Evil games, I was like, good. You managed to get this essentially what people were buying the game for. You got it right away. It was really fun. You got to go through the classic Resident Evil type fucking area in a castle / fucking house, and you got an interesting, very unique looking boss.
Yeah. The other characters, the Lycans, or as far as like the worlds, or whatever, these were enemies before you got to the house.
I fucking hate those guys. Legitimately, that was the most frustrating part of the game for me because they're the first real enemy you encounter, and they are so fast, they are so tough, and the whole thing, press space to block, did not work for me half the time. When you're in that first place and you have to essentially run around until the timer goes out, where the big guy with the hammer shows up and the game just says, "Hey, you've been suffering enough. We're gonna fucking cutscene your way out of here." Is the most frustrating sequence because you don't know how the game works by this point. You have almost no ammo, and you have no real indication of what you're actually supposed to do. Are you supposed to kill them all, or are you supposed to survive? It's kind of a mix of both, and they're so hard to deal with because they're like, oh, just block their fucking attacks and you do a cool punch. It is for me. It just did not nail half the time.
Yeah, for me, I have an issue with that, and that was one of my favorite parts of the game. I was like, oh, dude, like now we're just. No, this is basically a horde mode, and it's kind of a you know, mercenaries is
again, people compare it to it's the fucking the what was it the cabin scene in RE4.
Yeah, exactly. So I really like that part. But like one thing I really liked about this too that I feel like the game in general just didn't do a lot of discussing or like emphasis on. But the Lycans, the werewolves, cannot go inside of any of these houses. You never see those enemies inside houses, and that gives you variety just based on proxy. Because inside the houses, you got creepy witch-looking people that look like fucking mummified people, and every particular stage they have different enemies. But like, it's cool because these particular things would also not like get along with each other. So like, if you really wanted to, we could have went into a storyline where maybe they're at war as well. But like, it never happens. It's almost like this entire village is made to fuck with Ethan. And I feel like that's a big opportunity lost.
I don't necessarily think so because story elements eventually show where it's like there's a reason, like because you think, oh, all these different personalities there were, but to me it felt like a Saints Row game where it's like you have the different territories and everyone kind of works together, but they're really not a huge fan of each other because you see the animosity, especially the first time where you see all 4 and you see that they're fighting, but then it's like, hey, this Mother Miranda character is like keeping them all in line, and that's just like, hey, you got to kill your way up until you fight her. But I really like that it's like they don't like each other. And you think, yeah, they can go to war, but like you said, the vampires can't really leave the area and the Lycans don't go inside. Maybe that's because of a specific reason or because it's territorial. But Mother Miranda basically keeps them in line. And I kind of like that where it's like, it makes sense. Like they've been around for so fucking long that it's like they're going to work together because they've been around for centuries.
Yeah. But that was a really cool thing. Now, once again, goes into crazy Resident Evil stuff. Lady Dimitrescu is, she becomes something. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
Did not like that boss fight. Very set PC. And after that, here's the thing. Stage 2 gave me one of the scariest fucking things I've ever experienced. I'm not gonna say what it is.
I kind of want the reason he's not saying this because I legitimately that was one of my favorite parts of the entire game because somebody told me, "Oh, you're gonna get scared." I'm like, "I'm not gonna get scared. I played enough of these games. I'm a big boy." Oh no, they're right. This shit. Holy crap!
I had a dream. I literally had a nightmare that night. I could not stop thinking about it. It scared the fuck out of me because I played it with the lights off with my headphones on, full blast, just enjoying fun. I'm like, oh my god, I was so fucking scared. Easily my number one scariest moment in ever Resident Evil. I've never been more scared than that in all the Resident Evil games. But that was really, really awful gameplay.
I disagree because you mentioned something earlier that there's something for everybody, and also Game Boy mentioned, oh, they had to tone down the scariness. To me, I think that this was one of my favorite sequences in the game because I'm never a fan of, hey, you have no weapons, but if you have to do something there to make it worth it. Now, not necessarily the reason the scare is not there, but as soon as you go in, that's where the puzzles were actually pretty interesting, except for one that to this day, I legitimately don't know how I did it. I just guessed. But I like that the puzzles were focusing on Ethan's backstory and Ethan's relationship with Mia. I like the fact that you got to go explore a lot of what was going on. And I like the ending sequence where it's like, yeah, you feel very vulnerable. So you have this tension throughout the entire sequence. It's because when people played, and one of the reasons you never played RE7, you were afraid that the RE7 was just Outlast, where you're just crouching with a knife the whole fucking game.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. But as you progress through RE7, you start going to get flamethrowers and shotguns, and by the end of it, you're dual wielding machine guns. This is a situation for people that actually like that first part. We're going to give you a little taste of it. It's a very quick sequence. I don't think it's particularly difficult. It's more of just obtuse sometimes. But I love the backstory. I love the fact that a lot of stuff at the start of the game gets played off into here. The puzzles actually made a lot of sense, unlike some of the ones in before and after that sequence. But as you get to it, and once you get to the end of it, I hated that doll so goddamn much. That fight scene was fucking fantastic.
I hate that fight scene. I absolutely hated it. I hated having to search for that fucking doll, and then they're all just like jiggling their heads, and then randomly just the game just pauses.
Oh, you didn't like the Disturbed music video you played?
Well, it's just annoying. It's just like, you know, I'm playing, like, it'd be cool to watch. Like, if it was a cutscene, you'd be like, oh, this is a cool cutscene. That part's scary as fuck. Like, even the doll part, that'd be scary as fuck. But it's like, I am literally, once again, where the fuck do I go? And if it wasn't for the already an hour and 20 minutes I spent before this being lost and not knowing what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah. As much as I enjoyed the second sequence, my biggest criticism of this game is legitimately I don't know where the fuck I was going for half the game. The second half, when we talk about the next part, I laughed my goddamn ass off because even they know. But like, legitimately, I was in the village just running around in a circle, pulling my hair out. I had to message the chat going, this game would be great if I knew where the fuck I was going. A friend of mine's like, oh, did you go to the doll? I'm like, what the fuck's the doll? Yeah, there's another doll area. You go there. I'm like, what? Oh, there's a little fucking speck of an area I didn't explore.
Hiding behind the cracks of doors, by the way. Like, yeah, it's kind of annoying. And like, you know, it's just, if you're going to do that with the boss fight, it's like, that's cool that you're going for something here, but like, if I spend a certain amount of time, is it far too crazy to think that maybe at some point they could program a thing, you know, in Devil May Cry where you keep losing and it's like, hey, you want to try on easy mode? How about give me a chance
they've done that in games before. Metroid Prime. That's so much exploring in that game. But if you get lost, it'll be like a bum will come up. There's an incoming like signal, and it'll basically kind of point you to the location you should be going. You still have to figure out how to get there. But RE4 fixed this problem because RE4, unlike RE2 and 3, it was way more open. So what did it do? It had a bright red fucking circle on the map somewhere to indicate. Now you could explore if you want, or you could just beeline to the exit. With this, you just have to get lucky. Like, there's a fucking entire mechanic in this game where you go get food you kill animals to get food to increase your health. I ignored that because I was so frustrated with the exploration because I'm trying to figure out where to go. I'm like, I'm not doing anything extra. I'm just going through the game.
Yeah. That was very, very frustrating, that second boss battle. And even though I got a big scare in there, I was like, this is why I don't want to play Resident Evil 7. Like, that's seriously straight up what I said. I was like, man, fuck. Then we get into, and before we get into the second half of the game, because that's pretty much where we're at here now, I want to bring up the fact that the Duke was cool. It was a cool concept, but I gotta say, not as cool as a merchant, as well as the fact that
the merchant just sounded cool. Let's be real here.
No. The actual store was actually, and by the way, I mean this with RE5 as well. That's what's gonna piss you off. Where I like the store in RE5 even better than this. And the reason
the store in RE4 was terrible. What are you talking about? Like, try to actually figure out what upgrade or move to inventory. Does that mean it moves it to my actual hotkey? Or what do I do with that? Like, by the way, it's a different word. We literally just play that. The fucking shop is fucking awful. RE4, it's like the coolest thing about the merchant was the way he sounded, but it's almost the same thing.
Well, let me explain it though, because you're saying a lot of shit. Like, I know you don't like it, but like, well, maybe you can see where I'm coming from when I say this next thing. Where it's just like with RE4, every time you upgrade a gun all the way to its like full capacity, whatever the fuck that is, you get like the special ability for that gun, and you don't have to go to mercenaries to get it. You don't have to get infinite ammo. Which, by the way, mercenaries, I love it in this game, but like every single thing they add is like, oh, you get infinite ammo for this gun and this gun and this gun. I'm like, oh, that's all y'all got? I mean, cool. I appreciate it. That's awesome. Made the game easier. But, like, back then, like, I have a thing like, oh, well, this pistol, if you upgrade this particular thing, it has armor piercing. It can shoot through 3 zombies. Or, hey, like, this one gun has no reload. I mean, granted, like, it's not, like, you had no clips, basically. Like, there'll be shit like that. And really cool attachments in RE4 and RE5. And this... like, where are the attachments? Do I have to? Is that like another?
Oh, there are attachments. You can get a better like a stock for less recoil. I bought a couple. I didn't buy too many because I'm a pretty decent shot, so I didn't have to worry about that so much. So I kind of avoided that to save money for upgrades. But I can get like, hey, if you upgrade it fully, you don't get the extra power. But the reason I say I like the Duke better, like obviously the merchant sounded cool, but to me the Duke became a character. Like the merchants usually are like they have like 2 lines of dialogue at the start. Hey, stranger, yada yada yada, and then they're just like this random NPC throughout the whole game. With the Duke, it was like I want to know his deal more. Like, why is he helping you? Why does he know all this stuff? I thought there was gonna be a plot twist with that character, but no, he plays it straight the entire time. But he's constantly like on your side. And I'm like, I want to know what his deal was, and to me, it's like you talk about missed opportunities. I think they could have done some cool shit with him, but they never do. But like, why does he want to help you? What's his deal? Is he infected as well? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, is he part of the mold, or is he part of the group? Like, I thought he was actually gonna like he was gonna betray me. That's why I assumed. But anyways, like he was cool. But then we get to the main plot point where he's like, "Hey, so you gotta collect these flasks." I thought that was weird. I won't say much.
That was a little weird, extremely dark. Like they dismembered a child. I'm like, that's really, really fucking dark, especially for Resident Evil.
And needlessly dark and needlessly confusing because. I mean, once again, it's just like we talked about that in the last movie that we just talked about. But it's like I hate when, people. I don't like bad villains where it's like, hey, like we'll just wait because it's movie magic, it's game magic. Like it's gonna take this long, this whole playthrough to do this thing that we got to do, and it's like, okay, well, I mean, you're not gonna accomplish that because it's
the main person, yes, but that's why the minions were essentially trying to stop you because I mean they were failing because you're the main character. But yeah, no, I get that. I didn't mind it so much, but one of the issues is like. When you were dealing with first it's Far Cry 3, you constantly at least interacted with the villains. With this one, it's like you deal with the main four, sure. But Mother Miranda, like as much as I did enjoy when she showed up, I kind of would have liked to see her a couple times before we see her at the end. Because you see her twice. And I think that it would have worked a little bit better if either at halfway point, either you fight her or you interact with her or something happens. Because she's an interesting villain, but I feel like they didn't capitalize on her enough.
Now, to do it really, really quick, because I understand that this review has already been 26 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and just zoom very, very past to where, hey, I think that the third area was pretty cool. I like that fucking...
I love Heisenberg, but my favorite thing about him is he understands our complaint. Because at one point he goes, wow, you did pretty good. Go to the cemetery. I'm like, oh my fucking God, I'm going to get lost for 2 hours. No, there's little arrows.
Yeah, which is funny. But yeah, like, and well, that's the fourth boss. That's Heisenberg. That's the main fucking dude.
Oh yeah, the third. Yeah, right.
The third one is like this sea monster, or whatever. But like the sea monster, I feel like because I was like, oh fuck, here you go, these water creatures. I hate water bosses, or whatever.
I thought it was like we're gonna do the RE4 boss fight again. I was like, I like that boss fight. I mean, I don't like us repeating it, but whatever.
Yeah, but they didn't go that route, and I was like, that's cool. And then once again, like you just said, I thought that was really cool. Boss fight, you turned into a Decepticon, which was badass.
Bro, that's legitimately was like somebody was yelling and screaming about like, I want to do some action in RE fucking gameplay, and just yelling for a month. And eventually the director said, fuck it, okay, fine, what do you want to do? And just shows a Michael Bay movie and goes, oh, why did I agree to this?
Yeah, exactly. But then after that fourth boss fight, it's like, okay, now we know that we're very, very close to ending this game, and something's happened. Now we're not going to say exactly what happens because we want to wrap up the review somewhat. Yeah. So all I'll say is I like how it paired with stuff from the very beginning of the game as well as Resident Evil 7.
Yes.
It did some stuff where it's like now, legitimately, guys, I think in a couple of weeks I might play Resident Evil 7 on stream. I actually am down to play that because
I will play it with you. If as long as you do it on like a day, I can actually like hang out with you because that's a short game. You can beat that game in about 6-7 hours, especially if I'm walking you through. It's not as complicated as this, but basically for you, the toughest part's gonna be getting through the first section.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. So yeah, I mean, that's how good this ending was, and it was action. We got another big horde moment. We got to learn more about other characters, and I think that a big percentage of the storytelling happened in the last 20 minutes versus the middle or anything else. I think that the heart of this game, which usually in most games, in most movies or whatever, the heart's in the very beginning or right in the middle, where you finally get to have the reveal of what all the goals are and what everything and how everything connects. This game, way to the end, it's like, no, you're gonna earn the fucking just the knowledge of what the heart is of this shit. And
because at this point, because at that point, it's like a basic, hey, I gotta save my daughter for daughter's sake, and it's like I was almost in my head going, not necessarily why do I care, but I'm like that's kind of a really cheap reason of father has to save daughter. I'm like, can you give me a little bit more? And they do. Especially when Christopher comes in, and I've always thought Chris is a big fucking idiot, but he comes in and he's actually like a really down to earth, like emotional, like interesting character, and it's probably the best characterization I've seen because I didn't play the first.
That itself is actually kind of technically a spoiler. That's how great this game is getting. So like before we continue on, I'm gonna just give my rating. This is definitely a 4.5 out of 5. A fucking almost perfect game. The puzzling was fucking ridiculous, and there's a couple of storyline points that I thought was weird, but then, and I still think they're a little bit weird. But retroactively, every bad thing I thought about the story was changed because of that ending. So that's why we had to wait for the spoilers on that. But yeah, 4.5 out of 5 for me. How about you, Alan?
Definitely 4. This is definitely 4 out of 5. Like straight up, like I remember playing this and going, I want to replay this. now that I beat it, like because with RE7, like I played a beta and then the next year or when RE8 got announced, I read and played it again. This is one of those situations where I want to go back and replay it. I rarely ever do that with games like immediately because I want to go back and I want to play around because I died a lot. Like I played this on hard and oh man, did I die! Like it spent like an hour and a half in that final boss. But one of the things was like I didn't do the health upgrade. I didn't do a single health upgrade. All I had was my fucking magical herb fucking elixir that I poured on my fucking hands for some goddamn reason. But I want to see like, how's it going to be on extreme if I actually go through and hunt the animals or whatever. But there's so much going on here. There's so much. I'm sure the shit I missed. I'm sure there are upgrades I didn't do or certain weapons. I love the weapon switching because like when you play RE game, you have like the 2 weapons you switch to. You got your pistol and then you got your shotgun. With this, the final boss, I was switching from my grenade launcher to sniper to fucking every gun I had. I used a magnum a couple times. Like it really gives you a reason to use a lot of weapons. It puts enough ammo in the environment. Like if there's an action sequence going on, you tend to find either enemy drops or enough items or enough stuff to create that you could survive it as long as you're decently skilled. It doesn't baby you. It still expects you to be good, but it's not sitting there and punishing you like a fucking Souls or some parts of RE2 where it's like, hey, there's 500 enemies around and you have a knife that reload that only takes 2 hits. It's like this was a situation. The only things that I think would have made it better is I think you needed a better way to orchestrate which way to go because there is, even though this is an open worldish game, there is a linear pathway. You needed a better way to communicate which way to go. And 2, this is a first-person game. I'm dealing with guys that have axes and machetes and swords. Why don't I get a sword?
Yeah, well, that actually is pretty funny. Because I know you're doing that, and it's almost joking because like he likes to sword play guys, but like,
but like I'm not like it'd be overpowered. No, you're fighting like 5 guys. Like you're gonna need a gun to even it out. But like, what if I like oh shit I'm out of ammo? I guess this pocket knife. Just pick up the broadsword, bro.
Yeah, like why can't I pick up a melee weapon and then have that take up space in my inventory and then like. Maybe it gets dull and like you repair by picking up. Sure. Yeah, you pick it up with the axes, like you can repair it or something. Like I don't know, it would add another layer to the game's replayability. One thing I will say too about replayability is I did actually come and play this game again right afterwards on the.
Yeah, you told me. I was texting you like a beat. It's like, oh yeah, I'm going to the second playthrough on extreme. I'm like that's a jump from easy to extreme.
Yeah, but I'm actually already halfway through the game. I'm at like 55% of the game, and you know how long it took me to get there?
Probably an hour.
Yeah, an hour and 10 minutes. And it's frustrating because that pretty much indicates that the first game, or the first playthrough I played, I spent all that time going, where the fuck do I go? Just running nowhere. Because my first playthrough was like an 8-hour playthrough, dude. It took me 8 hours to beat that game.
I doubled that mostly because I got lost way longer and I died a lot of times. I think I clocked in 16 hours.
Yeah, maybe I'm closer to 16 hours. I don't know. But like, this next one, I'm almost done on the hardest difficulty. I've been dying a lot, and yet I'm literally like almost done. It's like that's yeah. I mean, and I would take points off for that, but like that's just how games are nowadays. But fuck, I wish like there'd be
a lot of games. The thing is, like, I don't necessarily see that as a problem because like there's a lot of games that I play where it's like if you know how to navigate and play, like for instance, Skyrim. Yeah, there are people that clocked in 300 hours. I clocked in 120 myself. That main story is 10 hours. If you only do the main quest, and for the most part, if you do 0 exploration, you don't have to worry about that. You just go from mission to mission to mission, and technically the game's over. But there's the exploration, and with this, that's the same. I want to replay because there's an entire mechanic to get food. Like fucking, like they literally just took that from Monster Hunter. Where hey, you want to fucking go find these animals, get food, and you'll get better health. There's weapons that I didn't get or upgrades that I didn't do because I didn't have the money. Like this to me warrants a second playthrough, and I might be again with RE7. The first time I played it, it was like 9 hours. Second time was 5 because I knew what I was doing. But it was still fun to play it, especially when you know what's going on. You can get through it a lot faster.
Yeah. Now, what you call it? Yeah, we'll get into the spoilers now. So here's the biggest thing I like about this fucking game is I really did think that Chris was going to be a bad guy, and he wasn't. And I was like, that's fucking awesome. They also got me numerous times, like for instance, I really did think Mia was going to be dead. And there's even parts here, so like they kind of reveal that Mia has been, Mother Miranda the entire time. She's been like basically taking her appearance.
Yeah.
And you almost, if you play the game again, which I did, in the beginning, you can tell that's not Mia because the way she's reacting.
Yeah, it's interesting because like not necessarily the entire time, but at some point during the 3 years that they were there. And I guess after the birth of the kid, basically Mother Miranda, who has the ability to mimic. So it's like all the crazy shape-shifting. It's like, well, turning into giant monsters and shit. Well, guess what? This person could turn into basically anybody, which ends up being a thing where it's like, I always hate that because like it was her all along. But there was one with the old ladies. I'm like, oh shit, that was her. Like I didn't even click that afterwards.
Yeah.
But you, especially going back, like that explains why she got so angry when Ethan was like constantly like talking about like we gotta talk about this, we gotta talk about this, because Mother Miranda doesn't want Ethan to deal with her shit, and she's like trying to basically make him forget about it so that she could just disappear in the night.
Yeah. So I thought that was a pretty cool concept, and just like going back, it's like, you know, subtlety. Resident Evil is not subtle, but they show subtlety in that beginning of the game. Like they
Yep.
knew ahead of time, like this is gonna be our fucking sandwich. This is the top bread, and
This is the end of this
bread.
character's arc.
Yeah, and it was really, really cool. I fucking love that shit. So that was pretty cool. One thing too is like, you know, Chris never explained shit. I thought that was kind of annoying. I mean, obviously they want to have the twist happen at the end, but like the fact that this whole time Chris can be like, dude, listen, she was Mother Miranda. That's all he had to say. This whole fucking game, he could just say that, and we could have worked as a team.
Yeah, but the thing is, I get that, but they managed to fix it up because eventually at the end of the game you play as Chris, and I actually genuinely enjoyed that because the game, surprisingly enough, you feel a difference in the gameplay.
Yeah,
like
big
he doesn't get hurt as much. He's able to move a little faster.
He can move a lot faster. His you know, he has a new gun that we never had access to, which was great.
Yeah, and it was great, and it made sense. Like this guy's been dealing with shit the entire fucking Resident Evil series, so to him, fighting a bunch of zombies is not the big of a deal. And one thing I generally enjoyed is he had a team of randos, and they don't all die. I expected them like, oh, they're gonna get in a helicopter and they're gonna get blown up. No, they all make it. Nobody dies. No one gets injured because, you know, guess what? Like these guys have been fighting zombies. This is just another like encounter for them. But I like that, hey, a bunch of randos that, because they always do this in every military thing. Oh, man, remember all those battles we fought? Yeah. And then just gets murdered instantly. It's like, no, they actually kept these people alive. I was surprised by that.
Yeah, well, like one thing I really like too, and it's funny that Eric's making jokes about, like, and Nemesis all along, there's a point to that statement. There's a point to that statement. No, that's kind of what happened. So, because I was in my own head with this because I'm a fucking super nerd for this shit. So, you know, at the end, Chris is, you know, trying to fight the fucking, the mold and fight the Mother Miranda and all this shit's going on, right? And before you even get there, they see a bunch of other not stormtroopers, but a bunch of other troopers come down to go and fuck up the Lycans and everything. And I was like, the, you know, typical, like, who the fuck would say yes to this? Like, hey, the mission is go over there and go kill
Who
yourself.
the fuck's gonna fly in to the giant tentacle monster that's encompassing a castle?
And you know what? Because Umbrella finally finished what they've been doing from Resident Evil 1. They finished the Tyrant. The Tyrant.
No, they did what I've been screaming at since RE5. They actually managed to make zombie soldiers.
Yeah, well, no, but that's what they've always been meant to be. That was the whole idea of Resident Evil 1, is that they want to make these zombie tyrants, the T-virus, that's the whole, you know, tyrant virus, and they're going to use them for war. So we don't have to harm ourselves or humans. And they're going to sell them on you know, like the black market or something. I don't know.
Okay, boys, we did it. It only took about 30 years and an untold number of human lives and the destruction of about half the planet. But we did it. We saved money on soldiers.
And that's the thing, though. It's like they did it. Or did they? That fucking ending where Chris is in the plane and they're all upset about Ethan. And you're like, wow, this finally Resident Evil game ended up with some love and some soul and some like, oh, man, that's kind of sad. And then what they do, because they're so brilliant over there at Capcom, I fucking love Resident Evil sometimes, they zoom in on the soldier, or quote-unquote soldier, the tyrant. Dude, that's a tyrant from part 1, and or Mr. X, and or Nemesis, who just fucking put himself at risk for us. But is he actually dead? They say he's not. It's like, oh, the other ones died.
So, do you want to know what my theory is for RE9?
Sure, because I have a few.
You're playing as, I think you're going to play as Chris. I think that the reason they gave you that sequence, because again, the DLC for part 7, you played as Chris, no soldier, whatever the fuck, no more heroes, whatever the fuck it was called. And in this one, you get another sequence of which you play as Chris with an entire team of characters that have names that don't get killed off. Because I think in RE9, or whatever they're going to call it, you're going to play as Chris Redfield first person the whole time.
Now, what I think is going to happen, because I agree with that, by the way, and so that's just how we are there. But what I think is that I don't know what they're going to say his catchphrase is because Stars is gone. But I think that Resident Evil 9, we're going to get Nemesis, a return of Nemesis. That soldier that was in that fucking plane is actually Nemesis. And what's going to happen is that he's going to fucking attack wherever they're taking him. And they're going to be like, wait, like, why can we, like, kill him like how we killed the last Nemesis? Because he has the fucking mold. So now these tyrants, who have been scary as shit all along, now have the mold from Resident Evil 7, and now we're really fucked. And all the tyrants that are all perfect are going to come back at us. And that's going to be like the main base enemy. Not zombies, not fucking whatever. It's going to be tyrants.
Yeah, maybe.
But
Shooting zombies, because hey, Resident Evil's wanted to do that forever. And hey, guess what? They're gonna put that multiplayer mode in, where it's like, oh hey, you get to be a zombie or a BSA person or whatever. Because Capcom's obsessed with making Resident Evil multiplayer for some fucking reason.
yeah, but I mean, that's one thing I would like to see. I would like to see maybe Nemesis go after BSAA. I'm glad that BSAA is still around. Because we were playing Resident Evil 4, or not Resident Evil 4, but Resident Evil 5,
Yeah.
and we were just like, yeah, like Trisell, blah blah. That's never been brought up again afterwards. And like, wow, they're actually
Yeah, they brought up. This is the weirdest thing about this game is they bring a lot of love to RE5 for some fucking reason.
Yeah.
To the extent where one of the enemy goes, "That boulder punching asshole." I'm like, they remembered that?
Yeah, it's great. I love it.
I want Leon to be in the next game. I want to see what happens. Like Leon shows up and maybe you play a sequence where he plays Leon for a little bit and see what he's kind of like where he has dual pistols, or maybe he has actual combat where it's like, because Chris is always the big beefy gun military man, but Leon's like the special agent, so maybe he has like kicks and shit.
Yeah.
Or maybe he gets to play as Ada Wong. Like the thing is, as much as I enjoy that, one of the things that, and I want to talk about essentially the twist, because as much as I enjoyed it, so basically it's full on spoilers. The reason Ethan can deal with all of this shit is because in RE7 he does die because he's a regular guy, but he basically gets infected with the mold, much like the family there. But because of his, because of who he is as a person, he is able to fight it off and he's able to beat the control. So he's basically able to separate himself from the actual organism and become his own person. So he gets a healing factor and all that stuff. So him getting his hands cut off and sliced up and shot and vaporized, and him keep coming back is because he's able to heal, much like the bosses you end up fighting.
Yeah.
So that sequence we were talking about where he gets his hand clean through the bone, and for some fucking reason, literally just attaches it back on like he's a fucking I don't even know what the comparison is. Like he's Inspector Gadget, or that too.
Yeah.
It's because the fact that he has consistent healing with the mold, which is really cool. So when you meet Miranda and after you beat the fucking Decepticon, she just comes up to you and rips your fucking heart out. And I was like, oh wow, they had the balls to kill a Resident Evil character. That's incredible. Usually Resident Evil characters are incredibly immortal. Like they don't die at all in any way, shape, or form, no matter what happens. But then I got upset because now we're playing as Chris, and I'm like, can you separate yourselves from this franchise? Because you created this new interesting character, this new interesting world, but you're always connecting it. Like you can't leave the old behind. It always has to be reliant, like it's a crutch. And I'm like, Ethan's an interesting character. I like his mannerisms. I like that he's able to defend himself, but he's not overly like meat-headed, where he actually has a personality. But now I have to play as Chris, and they managed to do the characterization. Because you brought up earlier, why didn't Chris just say this shit? Well, he ends up actually like feeling remorseful. He's like, yeah. Like he feels like he should have, like he made a mistake.
Yeah. No, and I agree with that. And I agree with you in the sense, too. I mean, we say this shit about Star Wars all the time. Like, hey, why can't you go, it's not a universe, it's a fucking street. But the thing is, though, is like, it made sense here because I was like, okay, all these things having to somewhat do. I mean, if you look in the tunnels in the second house, whatever, you'll notice that like there's umbrella graffiti.
Yeah.
not graffiti, but like signs and
stuff. Oh yeah, and I like how they call back to that because the first thing I noticed was when you get to the first time you see the altar, and he goes, "That looks familiar." I'm like, "Is that the Umbrella logo? Yeah. What the fuck's Umbrella building random logos in the middle of Transylvania, where the fuck we are?"
Yeah. So like those situations, I was like, okay, well, like I kind of get why it's still connected and everything too, but like I did like that, they did that twist. I was fucking surprised as shit. But then, the fact that like you go back and you are Ethan Winters, and then it's like, okay, well, like you can just grow all of his shit back, whatever, like reattach it and whatnot with this particular herbal fucking medicine. Well, now I'm asking, like, well, is that the way it is for all these guys? Because like if you're gonna start trying to explain shit, let's not get even more stupid here. Like, why
it's not that it's like the basically the herb accelerates whatever's going on, but that's why he's able to take like a fucking like literally they actively viscerally see people like slicing your fucking thing open, and you're just like whatever, walk it off with the herb. Everyone else, the herb is basically magic, but that's why he's able to survive the crazier shit where he's getting thrown through buildings and damn near eaten and his hands sliced off. The fact that they show all your damage on your hands, I don't understand. Like, I think they want just because it's cool visually and you're always seeing your hands. So it's like the Dead Space where your damage is on your back, where this is on your hands. So it's like with the acid, your hands are red. If you've been burned out, your hands are fucking like on fire and shit. I think that's kind of cool, but I don't think necessarily like, Leon and Chris are also infected.
Yeah, well, that's why maybe like I'm like, okay, like if we're gonna start revealing shit like that, like is that gonna be our thing now? Because if that is like, there is a lot to atone for. Like, there's a lot of shit that's just been kind of crazy.
I wanted to say in the next one, oh, by the way, yeah, herbs have healing medicine. Like, because there's so much crazy, like, fucking organism-based technology in this world that just having an next game, by the way, herbs accelerate your body's healing process. Okay, cool. You just explained Resident Evil.
Yeah, exactly. But no, like that would be pretty interesting if they're able to do that in the next games. But then it's just like, I feel like retroactively trying to explain shit like that, it could be cool. But then if you have a big franchise like Resident Evil, it's like, how much explain do we do without having to go like, okay, listen, this has gotten really, really broken. We're just gonna restart. Now we got a remake of a remake of a remake. It's like it could get that fucking dumb. But yeah, dude, I love the ending of that game. I like how it wraps a lot of stuff up. Personally, like the only thing I kind of don't enjoy is I do think that there should have been a longer sequence with Chris. I feel like, man, that was like one of the funnest parts in the game for me because it's so much action, and it's like, damn, dude.
I enjoyed that, but to me, it's like it was a lot of action, but it felt very like you could tell where it's like it's less threatening because when you eventually go back to being Ethan and you go through a sequence, to me, I was like, oh, good, we're back. Like, because I preferred, like, yes, I like the gun, but you get literally like thousands of rounds, and the enemies end up becoming cannon fodder. I remember like thinking to myself, going, especially when the guys with the drills come up, I'm like, look, a well-trained military team could just wipe out everyone here without a problem, and then they do, because the well-trained military team led by Chris, who actually leads the military team and actually accomplishes the mission, the first time he's ever done that in Resident Evil history. You see where it's like, yeah, this guy, the well-trained military can go in, but it also makes Ethan way cooler because he's able to survive this shit by himself. He doesn't have tons of ammo. He's scavenging around, but it makes Ethan look cooler while keeping Chris cool. Like, you don't sacrifice either character. It's not like, oh, man, Ethan's such a weakling. It's like, well, Ethan was doing all this shit by himself. Well, Chris is a dumbass. Like, no, Chris just tore through this he tore a line right to the fucking middle of this without even trying. So it's like, everybody gets something cool for them. And the way they send off like Ethan, because like, so again, I guess final big spoiler, you kill the spore dies, but Ethan understands that because you kill Mother Miranda, you fight her, and a really, really good boss fight. I really enjoyed that. Different phases was really fun. But once you kill her, they go through the crystallization and she dies. But then it also signifies the death of the organism that creates this mold, which means that Ethan, since he's connected, will also die. So he basically says, hey, take her and run off, and sacrifices himself. And they end the two game arc for this character, and it's sad we're never going to see him again, but I want them to do new characters. I think that's really good for the series.
Yeah, and I think it's really ballsy for them to pull that off, where it's like, yeah, we are going to have our character die. I mean, granted, we did it earlier, and people were probably like, I knew you were going to kill him.
I was like 10%. I'm like, are they actually going to kill him? I was like 50-50. Like, they can go either way.
Yeah, but I thought that was a really cool way to end it off, and yeah, man, and that's why I still feel like my official rating for this 4.5 out of 5. I fucking love this game so much, and it really kind of reasserted some of my love for the franchise. Because I gotta tell you, I didn't like RE2 remake, and RE3 remake is good, but I understand the issues people have, and it just is what it is. But they needed this. I'm gonna be honest. They really needed something new and good. Managing to do both. I don't know what's next for Resident Evil because I'm telling you, dude, I don't know how they're going to beat this.
Easy. I think they understand what's next because the thing with RE7 is RE7, especially if you ever beat RE7 and replay it, that game is a tech demo. That's a tech demo that just happened to work because I remember playing it the first time, you're so scared because you don't know what's going on. Second time playthrough, I'm like, as soon as you beat Jack, there's nothing, literally nothing in that level. As soon as you beat the boss of that level, all the AI just disappears. So you can just go through and explore and get whatever weapons and get the fuck out. And I was like, wow, this is a tech demo that is a game. So I can't wait for RE8 because I want to know what they're going to do with this. And with this was a success. Massive success. Like 4 million in like a week. Like that's a success for any game, let alone, an ongoing franchise. So I think what they're going to do is they're going to diverge. They're going to have RE3, like, RE2, RE3, RE4 remakes. And those ones are going to be the third person behind tank controls. Then they're going to have RE7 as the first person branch. So we're going to have two branching games that come out whenever they come out, but we don't have to necessarily connect them anymore. It's like once they get to RE6, they might just sit there. We're going to create our own stories and like whatever the fuck they're going to call it, like Resident Evil, and they're going to put a catchphrase underneath, Code Veronica X, or if they ever get the rights to that. But then RE9 is going to be Chris, and then RE10 is going to be whatever.
Yeah, no, I think that's going to happen too. And I can't wait to see it happen. But we will see, man. But with that said, though, we've been on for a very, very long time.
Yes.
So we are gonna get the folks out of here. But the thing is, though, guys, I want y'all to follow my boy over there on that Metropolis Collective. Alan, tell him.
Yes, basically, yeah. Follow me on Facebook. You're gonna see. Oh, yeah, the VR version of RE4. I'm so happy that
Jesus.
exists. I want to play that one day.
Stupid.
See how it is. Anyway, follow me on Facebook. You'll see the premieres of the Metropolis. We have a lot of stuff that's coming up in the next couple of weeks, so be sure to drop a like on there. An episode of Illuminati got recorded today. I was not a part of it. They will explain that in the actual video or video audio, whatever, however you listen to it. But that will be when it normally comes out, either Monday or Tuesday. No Nunez podcast today. Obviously, we're really fans of that. Jenny she's like, hey, there's nothing today. We'll get one tomorrow or next week. Sorry. So, but drop a like on there so you know when the shit gets premiered.
Oh yes, people. That music is playing. Goodbye. Stay toasty. Have the chat. We'll see you guys tomorrow for the pre-show for What Up, Son. I will not be doing a DT editing show tomorrow, or Tuesday, or Wednesday. I've been fired until Thursday. Then I'll be rehired. So I'll
Good.
see you guys then for that good show. Bye. Don't say good. Fuck you.
Yes, watch me.
Watch me.